the familiar strains of God Defend New Zealand. And that is Kimigayo, the Japanese national anthem. The New Zealand team today is a mixture of the necessity to play a winning team and the desire to give all the players at least one game in the first two on this short tour. So it's not quite an All Black Test team that you see there. A number of interesting selections, however, and John Kerwin coming into the team confirmed only at lunchtime to play today. The New Zealand captain is Wayne Shelford at number 8, who'll lead the haka. Well, it's very popular worldwide and no exception here in Japan. The Japanese team has its most experienced player in the forwards, the lock forward and captain Toshiyuki Hayashi, the hooker Fujita and the lock forward Oyagi. Between them they've played 65 internationals. The rest of the forwards have all played less than 10. In the backs, the two to watch are number 13 Kutsuki, the centre, and number 12 Hirao, the second 5'8". Both are very fast and sharp. The winger Okidoya is a big goal kicker and a sharp and solid defender. And behind them, Shogo Mukai, the fullback, we can expect to be a runner, as in fact will, of course, be all the Japanese team. That's their traditional game. So all is set for the playing of the first ever rugby international between New Zealand and Japan from the Hanazono ground in Osaka. The referee today is Colin High from England. A crowd of 15,000 on an overcast afternoon, conditions excellent for running rugby on an excellent ground. And the Japanese captain Hayashi makes the first charge, and then Oyagi coming through near halfway, taken in by Wayne Shelford. And obviously New Zealand will have a big advantage in weight. Out to Frano Bodega, the high test for Mukai, the fullback. Schuster through, a big jump by Mukai. Charge taken by McDowell out to Shelford. Terry Wright, the left winger, into Bruce Deans, who tried to roll over, and there's a very strong beginning by the New Zealand team. So you can hear the gasps of admiration around the crowd. This is the All-Japan team, and straight away in defence they're calling a short line out. Now I think probably 99% of New Zealand coaches would frown on this, but it may be a long throw from Fujita out to the centre to try and clear this ball away. There it goes, out to the number 8 forward, Latu, and the clearance is made by Matsuo, the fly half. And there's number 10, Matsuo, the fly half in his 4th international for All Japan. Now with me in the commentary box today, former All Japan international and television commentator Megumi Horikoshi, and Megumi making his debut in English today.
Yes,
how are you hoping the Japan team will go today?
Yes, I think that the power difference between the two teams is quite evident. So the first point of people's interest will be if Japan can score any tries.
Oh, Karen straight through under the bar. That's the first one today. And the power of the New Zealand team is evident with that burst by John Kerwin. There's the Japanese coach, Mr. Hibino, and that's a fairly sober experience for him in the 2nd minute of the game. Let's look at how it happened from the throw by Fitzpatrick, a tap by Brent Anderson, fast hands to Kerwin, crashing the centre, and he was through. The Japanese fullback Mukai made just a flailing dive, and Kerwin's in under the post. So up until midday, Kerwin was not expected to play in the match, but called in by John Hart to play. Kicker for New Zealand, John Gallagher, and New Zealand away to a good start. That's not good for Japan, Meg.
Yes, I think we may have many more chances that New Zealand players scoring against the Japanese side, but people's interest will be if Japan can score any tries. And then I look forward to watching open type of rugby from the both teams. I think the weather seems to be very good for rugby match this afternoon.
Comments today coming from Megumi Horikoshi, who played in the most famous victory that Japan ever had against the New Zealand juniors in 1968 at Wellington. There's the match restarted by Okidoi, the left winger, and he's kicked it deep. And you can see that he can kick the ball with a real thump, and he's kicked it right down the back to a restart from the 22. Just talking about the tries, a comment from Wayne Shelford earlier in the day that the fear of losing used to be one of the main things in the mind of an All Black. On this tour, they've decided to set themselves a very lofty goal, the fear of having their line crossed. They're going to try and keep their line free right through the whole tour. Here's Terry Wright. He's got inside Mukai. Mike Brewer down to the 10-metre mark. That's Shogo Mukai. Looked like there was a bit of a knock-on there. Referee High letting play run on, but coming back for the scrum. Very flat ground, looking in a pretty good shape. There's the New Zealand reserves and coach John Hart. And the first test for the Japanese scrum. There are some big players in the Japanese forward pack. Free kick against New Zealand for going ahead of the mark, I think. And the man with the ball is Ikuta. Out to Matsuo, out to Hirao, out to Kutsuki, and this is Okidoi. Good run by Okidoi. Caught by Zinbazan Brook. And there's the Japanese team competing very strongly in that piece of back play. Well, they're the danger men in the Japanese back line. Yes. Kutsuki and Hirao.
Yes, I think one of the assets of the Japanese side today will be what we call two centers. I think those two players required to create something for the attacking opportunity.
Line-out ball back to Frano Botica. And there's the clearance up to the 10-metre mark. There is Botica. It's a comeback day for him today. He has not played in the All Black jersey since the test match about 1 year ago in Nantes when the All Blacks lost, and whether that cost Botica his place, it's hard to say, but he's sat out all the World Cup matches. Tap ball there for the Japan team. They've got a big man at in the number 7 shirt. That's Sakuraba. He's 1.93 m. That's 6 feet 4 inches tall and 102 kilograms. That's 16 stone. So there are some big men in the Japanese pack. They've got a prop forward whose shape it would be good for any international team. That's Aizawa. at 6 foot and 16.5 stone.
I think Sakuraba is wearing the number 6 jersey.
So there is John Gallagher. The lineouts favouring New Zealand so far. All Japan haven't got one yet. 22-metre line. Deans, Boddicker. Brewer, number 7. Number 4 is Oyagi. Gallagher. Fast hands again, Brewer. Right near the corner. And the try is awarded to Mike Brewer. So he scored one in the midweek game. There's Alex Wiley sitting next to John Hart and Mike Brewer in the open side flankers role. But you can see the power is very evident. Bruce Deans on the narrow side to Schuster. Kerwin, Gallagher was up. Gallagher still passing out towards the touchline where Boddicker had doubled around. Brewer takes it there and then delays his pass and crashes through the defence. So that's a try in each game for Mike Brewer. It's a real change in the New Zealand team to see a different goal kicker, John Gallagher, a much speedier approach to the ball than Grant Fox. So that kick is not over, and that's New Zealand into the lead by 10 points to 0. So here's that ball again, coming for Bruce Deans. This is the end on, away to Schuster. They kept passing it away to the right. Boddicker was right out on the wing. It bounced off a hand, but it apparently didn't go forward, and Brewer was in. Frano Boddicker thumping it up to midway 22 and halfway. 10th game for the All Blacks today. Number 10, Frano Boddicker. Short line out called by All Japan. And they've got it, but it's bounced to Mike Brewer. That's awkward. That's Zinzan Brook up towards halfway. Japanese players ruled offside. Loose ball in midfield. It bounced up nicely for Brewers. He'd been in the game a lot. Schuster back on the New Zealand side, but advantage being played.
I think Japanese coach Mr. Hibino must have put importance on the players' defending ability to pick up his 15 for this afternoon.
So there's the Japanese head prop, Aizawa. You can see he's a real tough-looking character. Matsuo out to Oyagi. A good charge by the lock forward Oyagi with his other lock forward captain. Now it's out in the Japanese backs to Kutsuki. Out to Okidoi. Pressure on the New Zealand line. And Bruce Deans has had to scramble it in goal. And doesn't he look good? Okidoi on the left wing for All Japan. That's his second good run. Look at this. Oyagi into the charge. There the captain was there in the headgear. Matsuo fast hands right through the centre. Kutsuki a long pass to Okidoi, and that was excellent back play by the All Japan team. Play up near halfway from the dropout at the 22, and this is going to be certainly an interesting game. The Japanese players do tend to go off their feet, and that has cost them a penalty there. And there's some food for thought in here for the All Blacks, even though they're ahead by 10 points to 0 after 10 minutes. Kerwin a try, Brewer a try, one conversion to John Gallagher. So again, the Japanese favouring just 2 men. Wetton's got in for the tap there. Out to Boddicker. This is Captain Wayne Shelford. That's the 22. Number 4 there you see is Hayashi, the Japanese captain. And Gary Wetton's wheeled away. There's some strong defense going in there by the Japan team, but the support player's good again. Oh, it looks as though it might have been knocked on by Gary Wetton. Bruce Dean's a big day for him today. He won't forget the Hanazono ground in Osaka. This is where he's making his debut for New Zealand, joining his brother as an All Black. Member, of course, of a very famous All Black rugby family. So that's Ikuta, the All Japan halfback, a very good player, big improver in the World Cup, coming in ahead of Kunishi, who's been on 7 overseas tours and who's only in the reserves today. So McDowell, number 1, is up. The man marking McDowell is Aizawa, and you can see he's a very tough man. But on the other side is the little man Yasumi, who's only 5'7" tall, 1m71. So Latu, the Tongan, has fed the halfback. It's deflected to Schuster. Out now to Bernie McCahill, but there's 3 Japanese players onto McCahill, and it looks like there was non-release in there by McCahill, but here's an injured player, and I hope this is Katsuki. Well, Megumi Horikoshi,
yes.
The first 10 minutes, how do you think it's gone for All Japan?
Yes, I think All Japan is playing better than we maybe expected. I think I can find that some strong mental commitment from each of the players.
Yes, indeed, it certainly seems that way. There's the injured man. That's Kutsuki. Yes.
Yes.
This is the man that was such a big hit in the World Cup, and he's probably the star player. And they're looking anxiously from the sideline. That's Mr. Hibino there to the right. Kutsuki was the man, of course, who scored the try against Australia, which was in Television New Zealand's final top tries contest. And I think you heard about that up here in Japan, Meg.
Yes, we did. We had the opportunity to watch that match. Yeah.
There's an interesting thing there. You see the Japanese people, they always bring on a kettle onto the field for the injury breaks. That's a little tradition. That's very nice.
Yeah, that's what we call magical kettle.
So that's a concern there for Eiji Kutsuki, the All Japan star player who's gone to the sideline. And that's Matsuo, the fly half, who's kicked out inside the New Zealand half. That's a good kick by Matsuo. So All Japan, down 10 points to 0, have 14 players on the field at the moment. At the back is Koshiyama. In front of him is the 20-year-old Sakuraba, who's the big man, number 6, playing on the blindside flank for the first time today. Deans to Bottiger, Schuster, Gallagher in. He hit that one with his knee. Played ahead by Bottiger to Mukai's foot. Now they're starting a counter-attack. Kerwin gets through Matsuo. Schuster. And John Schuster gets across for the 3rd try this afternoon.
It was a very exciting move.
Here comes Kutsuki back onto the field. 14 points to 0, New Zealand leads. And there's John Schuster, who scored the last try at Tokyo in the midweek game. Palmed down by Wetton. The backs were away, but you'll notice how Gallagher came in and hit it with his knee. And it bounced there from Bottiger's kick straight to Mukai's kick. Kind of a soccer kick between the two, and then the counter-attack. And it was bad luck here for Japan that they only had 14 men on the field, because Kerwin was quite comfortably able to put John Schuster into the clear. And there's Schuster running it in from 25 meters. So this is John Gallagher at 14 points to 0. That one's across the front of the post from Wellington's policeman, John Gallagher. New Zealand 14, All Japan nil. There it is. It came off his knee, you see. And then you see Bodega kick it ahead. And you can see Shogo Mukai in the background. He also played it with his foot. And then that's where the counter-attack started. And interesting to see that Schuster started it. And then he must have belted right around. You see him getting outside John Kerwin. And this is a feature of the game that John Hart has asked of Schuster on this tour. And it's been rewarded with a nice try for the Wellington second 5-8. So the crowd here at Osaka's rugby ground, the Hanazono ground, just a bit quiet and reflective at the moment. They certainly enjoyed those 2 exit runs by Okidoi on the left wing. Referee in there saying cool it, but one of the features of Japanese rugby is, of course, that there is no dirty play, and that's something that can be said with confidence. The discipline of the players is something that all rugby players elsewhere in the world can learn from. Deans catches Ikuta. This is Latu, the Tongan. Past Kutsuki to Okidoi. He slipped inside Kerwin. That's the 10-metre mark, New Zealand. Ikuta out towards the left wing again. Here's the counter-attack. Deans played ahead again by Gallagher off the knee. And again, it's this time I think it's Yoshino, the winger, coming across to put it out. So twice Gallagher has nudged it ahead with his knee. Schuster now to Brewer. This is Zinzanbrook. 25 metres out from the Japan line. And again, you see the Japanese players going in and coming off their feet. And that's a feature of their play, which international referees will certainly come down hard on. And that's a penalty to New Zealand in midfield.
I think one of the plays that Japanese people are mostly impressed from New Zealand play is players supporting play, and I could find some nice supporting run from Botica, and after passing he go around backing up the whole back line. I think that's the play we should learn from New Zealand side.
So Gallagher lands the first penalty goal of the tour, and New Zealand are now leading all Japan by 17 points to 0. Certainly been a most entrancing country to visit in the rugby sense. The hospitality of the Japanese people has been outstanding to the New Zealand players and party. There's Okidoi kicking off again, kicking it deep to Botica. Very interesting to come down from Tokyo in the bullet train, as the All Blacks did for this match, to Osaka, which is a city of huge proportions. 8 million people living in this city. Hayashi. That's Aizawa, the prop forward, the big roly-poly prop forward, but it's gone to New Zealand. Back to Botica. Some talk about Botica playing its second 5/8 on this tour, but John Hart's given him a run at his favourite number 10 position for this match. So to throw is Fujita from Japan, deflected by Hayashi. Akita to Matsuo, got Brewer at the same time. All Japan number 8 forward there is Sonali Latu, the third Tongan to play for Japan. 20 minutes gone. Quarter of the game over. New Zealand leading by 17 points to 0. And there's another penalty from New Zealand up near halfway. The man getting up last is Oyagi. Now, he's a player that's well known to players of the Canterbury University. He played a full season for Canterbury University. There he is, number 5, Oyagi. Played with the Canterbury University senior team back in '83. And when I mentioned this to him yesterday, he was very pleased to mention his friendship with Dale Atkins and Warwick Taylor, and mentioned a whole host of Canterbury players, including, of course, John Buchan, the All Black, who's on this tour, former clubmate of Oyagi's in Christchurch. So short line-outs are going to be the way the Japanese are going to try and secure line-out ball, and this is working only up to a point. As Fujita's throw, Hayashi makes the tap, Ikuta out to Matsuo, and that's pretty efficient play and a good kick by Matsuo. The 5 feet 7 inches, that's 1 meter 70, just over 11 stone, number 10.
I think Matsuo may try some kicks at goals from short distance.
Clean take there by Sinzan Brook near halfway. There's All Black power for 10 metres. Back to Deans. Boddicker. Schuster tried the body swerve. It got him through against the Japan B. Didn't quite get through there. Fitzpatrick driving on. Deans, short side. Brewer, overlap here. Wright's got it. Very brave tackle by Mukai. And the ball in touch. And it looks like Mike Brewer down. Some brave defense there by All Japan. Let's look at that one again. Brewer hooked it out to Wright, and Mukai came across and made a despairing dive, and it turned out to be a good tackle too by the fullback, bringing down the New Zealand winger. There's the big, the little prop forward, Yasumi. The injured player, in fact, is Brook, tended to by David Abercrombie, the New Zealand physiotherapist on this tour. And you see the kettle on the field again. Yep, they're going to pour water from the kettle. It comes out every time there's an injury break. It's a really nice little Japanese touch. We've never seen that before, Mick. Something special from Japanese rugby.
Yes, that's right.
And so that man, number 7, is Koshiyama. He's the 26-year-old who missed the World Cup. He's the only player in the team that didn't go to the World Cup. Blindside flanker for the first time, Zinzan Brook. And it's All Japan's throw after 22 minutes of play in the first half. New Zealand leading by 17-0. Hayashi jumping near the front. New Zealand through there, getting through the lineouts comfortably. Deans, here's trouble for All Japan. Brewer charging, Latu got him. Deans, away to Boddicker. Schuster. He's caught by Koshiyama and the 2 or 3 others. The goal line in the background, but a chance for All Japan to clear here. So Ikuta out to Matsuo. And Matsuo kicks up to halfway, not very big at all, but a very sharp player. He went to the World Cup, but didn't play in any of the games out there. Mark in Japan territory. Deans, Boddicker, McCarhill. Oh, that's gone into no man's land. There was a bit of lack of communication there with Wright and Gallagher in this extra man. Now Boddicker on to Brewer, who's enjoying the running game. Good play there by Brook. Deans, Kerwin. And that's a knock-on call by referee Colin High. Referee who members of the New Zealand Maori team will recall, refereed their game in Newport in 1982. That was a fumble by Kerwin from the right wing. Collapse. Sometimes when it's a fast hook, the Japan team will let Latu, the number 8, make the pass off the back of the scrum. Obviously, they need a quick hook with such a light pack. That's Fujita, one of their star players, the hooker. And the man with his head up is Aizawa.
I think the Japanese scrum is coping against quite well at this moment.
Up they come on the front row. There's Latu making that pass. Matsuo has it now, number 10. And that's a good kick by Katsuhiro Matsuo, the fly half, number 10 for All Japan. Ground is absolutely jam-packed here in Osaka for this match. Sean Fitzpatrick. See the comfortable work by Gary Wetton at the lineouts, and now Bodega makes the orthodox clearance up to halfway. So Japan with Oyagi and Hayashi, the two locks there, and it's gone to Brewer at the back. You hear that, New Zealand team, to keep it up, keep it on their feet. Japanese team tend to crash to the ground, although they're staying up there. That's Yasumi. That's Fitzpatrick. Now breaking away. They're the two forwards, Yasumi and Aizawa. Handled quickly there, Gallagher. Closest man to him is the captain, Hayashi. Counter-attack here. Bodega. Schuster, he's done it again, coming outside the winger. Oh, great catch by Kutsuki. Then McCahill. And that's tough work on the fullback, Shogo Mukai. But they're certainly courageous players. John Kerwin coming right over to the left wing. Score 17 points to 0, time gone, 26 minutes. I think you might agree the All Japan team competing pretty strongly at the moment. Okay, they're going to try and take it to the right from the ground, keeping it in control. And Japanese captain Hayashi, very experienced player, is offside, and John Gallagher going to be called for. There's the Japanese coach, Mr. Habino. A word here about the network news. It will follow at approximately 7 o'clock, although we're taking a news break at half-time, I understand, and the news will follow at approximately 7:30. Okay, Meg, Megumi Horikoshi, this is a good period for All Japan. They're going quite well now.
Yes, I think so. Usually when we play against a strong international side, we mostly have the biggest difficult time in the last 20 minutes of the match.
John Gallagher after 29 minutes. He's not quite hitting them right. And Matsuo touches down. Just 2 successful kicks for Gallagher so far. That one didn't cross the 22-meter line. Referee Colin High has called a scrum. So in go the locks for Japan. The flanker on the near side is number 6, Koshiyama. First time All Japan has played the open side flanker game. Normally they have flankers in what we might call old-fashioned left and right. So away go the New Zealand team with a big blind side there. Schuster backing up. He's lost it now to Mukai. And that's a good clearance by Mukai, the fullback. He's a runner, very slightly built, just 10 stone 13, that's 70 kilograms. So lots of communication. Brewers lost it to All Japan that time. Now they've got the ball out in the backs. Kicked wide by Hirao. And there he is, the star of the Japan team in the backs. Hirao, number 12, and Kutsuki, number 13. They're the danger men, and that was an excellent kick put in there by Hirao, and Japan in a good position now on attack, just 10 meters from the New Zealand line. It's cooling down here at Hanazono ground. Its temperature now coming back to about 14 degrees. See the nets around the field there. That's for the use of this ground during the week as a golf driving range. Botica from behind his goal line. Now All Japan will have the throw in here, so if they were to secure this ball, we might see some fireworks from their backs. So they're pulling men out again. But the short lineouts haven't worked too well for them so far. They're leaving 3 in this time. They've got Sakuraba at the back. This is Fujita, number 2. Then Hayashi, the captain, who wears the white headgear. He's against Zinzan Brook. Sakuraba, but beaten to the jump by Bruce Deans. Brewer holding it in. Deans finding Botica. So again, All Japan near halfway, starting with the 2-man line-out with Oyagi and Hayashi in against Wet and Brook. But you see, New Zealand can still secure it off the Japan throw. Deans, Botica, Schuster, McCahill left out. Not good there from New Zealand. It didn't get out to the centre. Here's Gallagher. Japanese defence was pretty sound there in midfield. Schuster, Bernie McCahill from centre, kicking for Terry Wright. There's Terry Wright, also a bit of a comeback for him today, I guess, not being a regular in the All Blacks in the World Cup. A reminder there that the TV New Zealand news will be at 7:30 tonight, following the completion of this live telecast, coming to you from Osaka, from the Hanazono ground of the first ever international between New Zealand and All Japan. This is Hayashi, the Japanese captain.
Aizawa is being treated on his shoulder.
He's a very big man, Aizawa.
Yes, I think he has an international size.
Commentary today from Megumi Horikoshi, who is normally the television telecaster in Japanese, of course. There's the Japan captain, Hayashi. That's a good move to throw it low, but referee Colin High says the throw was low. The referee says it was high. That's his name, and it didn't go 5 meters, sadly. Shelford from Deans. Brewer there as well. And Japanese halfback Ikuta is offside. And you saw the signal there from Wayne Shelford. He wants to kick for goal. So the New Zealanders playing a serious game with international intent. They're taking every chance to score points. They've certainly come here with some fairly lofty ideals to play rugby to an excellence. There's the goal post with the words in Japanese. They're called Orabakushu. Is it, Megumi, the name for the All Blacks in Japanese? Orabakushu?
All Blacks, almost the same.
And that's 3 more for New Zealand. So after 31 minutes, New Zealand lead by 20 points to 0. So the Japanese team have kept New Zealand out from scoring tries for about 15 minutes now, not since the try by Schuster, so they've held up rather well. Matsuo. So that's Okidoi doing the kicking again. He's kicked off again deep. Bottika's going to run it out from the goal line. He's given it to Kerwin. Schuster. Change of direction. Frano Bottica. That's Wayne Shelford. Coming out of the 22, the New Zealand captain. Took 3 men to bring him down. Steve McDowell. Wetting it halfway. And that's Richard Lowe, number 3. But the pass went forward. So chance here for All Japan to strike back if they can get their loose head. They need a quick put in and a quick heel.
I think this is the first time Japan used open and tight flanker system in the Japanese team.
So here's Wayne Shelford at halfway. So it's coming for the backs. Bottica, well caught by Hirao, who hasn't really had a chance to run yet. Hirao, Deans, overlap out here. But that's a kick straight to Mukai. And Mukai intelligently kicks the ball right back because he knows that Gallagher was up. So Gallagher's got a bit of a run back. That's a good save by Gallagher. Put his body between the ball and the touchline. Deflected by Hayashi. Ikuta to Matsuo. Matsuo out to Koshiyama. Japan trying to race into a setup there, but you can see it's hard work against the world champions. Brewer. Fitzpatrick. Bottica's going to run away, I think. Nice tackle by Yoshino. Terry Wright. Oh, he got pulled. Great defense there by Okidoi. Fitzpatrick there. The Japanese team are back. But can they keep New Zealand out? There's the clearance by Okidoi, and a good one too. But great defense by All Japan. And that's the left winger, Okidoi, who came across and made an excellent save. They're playing very bravely, the All Japan team.
Yes, I think so.
Look at this defense when New Zealand had it, and running in the backs, it looked very dangerous for All Japan. A great run by Fitzpatrick down to this new position. Japan winning a bit of line-out ball. Hirao getting it just a kick to right. Finds Gallagher, 10-meter mark. Hirao coming forward. No, it's Latu. Good jump by Latu. He's lost it. Advantage being played. Fitzpatrick. Hayashi diving in, and these Japan team players are really committing themselves here. And that's no better example than from the captain with the white headgear, Hayashi. 54 minutes gone, first half. 20-point margin. All sorts of bother for Ikuta there. And they're almost throwing it away behind the goal line. That's Matsuo, who put it out over the in-goal, the dead ball line. Now there is an injured player. Latu, the very strong number 8 forward who came here 2 years ago studying at university here at Daito Bunker University. They had a volleyball team in New Zealand not so long ago. And as I say, the third Tongan to represent Japan in the last 3 seasons. Had problems here for All Japan. That's the goal line. New Zealand's on attack. Referee High wants the ball into the scrum again. Yes. So, Japanese scrum holding New Zealand at the moment. Can they keep it up? Shelford. Taken by All Japan. Out to Hira. He's kicked again. So, in fact, the clearance coming from Mukai, the fullback, and he's having a good game. Plays for the Toshiba club, the second-ranked club in Japanese rugby. There's the New Zealand drive for the line, but you'll see that Mukai, the fullback, the ball is passed to him, and he gets away. A good clearance up towards halfway. $20 points to nil. No tries for 20 minutes. After getting 3 in quite quick succession from Kerwin, Brewer and Schuster. And that was against Steve McDowell for a punch. You saw the gesture by referee Colin High. Now the Japanese team running it. Hirao to Kutsuki, who's wearing your headgear, remember. And in go the Japanese men now. There was some fairly severe footwork there in by one of the Japanese players, but referee Colin High has now signalled, I think, for half-time. And it was a pretty good effort by All Japan that kept New Zealand tryless in the last 20 minutes. New Zealand sapping for the Japanese players. And Captain Hayashi, that's straight out to driving play right up on the goal line. And that's the kind of thing that will be energy sapping.
If you say All Blacks rugby in Japan, people will naturally remind of the kind of movement they performed just now.
Shelford near the goal line. Let's see. Japanese team, McDowell driving there. Oh, lost forward. And the drop out from the 22. Japan have held New Zealand out this time. Once more. There is Mr. Hibino, such a courteous man at the All Japan training shed practice yesterday. He stopped the training when I arrived at the ground to have a look and came over and welcomed me and Radio New Zealand's Graham Moody to the training session, then carried on with the training session. So that's a penalty for New Zealand. Bruce Deans with the ball in his debut match for the All Blacks. And John Gallagher being called forward. It's going to be a shot at goal with the wind. Two New Zealand coaches, Alex Wiley and John Hart. It's not going to be a shot at goal. It's a high test for Mukai. Right down on the goal line. It's there on the New Zealand side. Bottiger, Gallagher. Japanese tackling was very strong in the midweek match, even though New Zealand won by a huge score, 94-0. And John Kerwin's been quoted as saying it was some of the toughest tackling he's ever faced. And I think there was a very good example there. The defense has been very, very sturdy. Look at this. Matsuo, who's only 5 feet 7 inches tall, crashing into John Gallagher. But I guess it's taking its toll on some of the All Japan players. Aizawa is the prop forward. He was once dropped from the Japan team to allow Hayashi, the captain, to come into the front row, but that didn't work out, so they put Hayashi back in the second row and brought Aizawa back again. There's the kettle. Aizawa plays for Rico. They're the Copier people, of course, and it's not just a straight commercial plug to mention these teams' names, because they are the company teams made up from the companies, making up a very big part of Japanese rugby. The company championship and the university championship run by side, and there's a grand final at the end of the season. Latu lost to Brook. Knock on though. So Latu, Matsuo now, Gallagher. Sakuraba was ahead of him. Good kick into the corner, but it's gone out, drifted out on the full. It's 12th game for the All Blacks. John Gallagher. Fujita. Oyagi made the tap. Looks like that one perhaps wasn't straight. So there's Yasumi, the very short prop, the mighty mouse, if you like, of All Japan Rugby. Deans, Boddiger, Schuster left out, and into the gap. Gallagher, right. Japan again getting across in numbers. Shelford, Deans. Gallagher's still up in the action. It's right near the line. And lost forward by Wayne Shelford. He's not happy. All Japan are going to try and drop out again. Pass up to Kutsuki. He's lost it forward, but that won't count. It's just a pass up towards for the 22 for the dropout. And Wayne Shelford losing the ball there in the act of diving for the line. So this is Seiji Hirao. Behind him, Kutsuki, the two danger men of the Japanese backline, but Hirao has not had a run yet. So Anderson waiting. So is Wetton. Oyagi through. Driven away by Anderson and Gary Wetton. Japan forwards are looking a bit tired there. They're walking back. It's taking its toll, I think. Boddicker, Schuster, McCahill, Gallagher. And John Gallagher, who got 3 tries on Wednesday, has dug through, and the writing was on the wall when the Japanese players didn't run back to compete. And Gallagher scores under the post. Look at this again. You see the 4 Japanese players in the foreground. They were walking, and that meant there was space for the All Blacks if they got their numbers across. And look at the New Zealand players arriving there, 7 or 8 of them. Gallagher from the 22, ducking and weaving his way through, and that's a try under the bar for the Wellington and New Zealand fullback. So that try by Gallagher, his 4th of the tour, has broken the run by the All Japan team, who kept New Zealand scoreless, tryless for about 30 minutes. But they looked a bit tired there that time, Megumi Horikoshi.
Yes, getting a little bit tired. I think from the beginning, the New Zealand, beginning of the second half, New Zealand started to use a lot of forward driving, and most of the Japanese forward are getting slightly tired.
Here it comes again, the try for Gallagher. There's where he gets it, outside the 22, in and out, and one more delayed pass, and a nice body swerve, and he was in untouched behind the post. So the conversion from John Gallagher makes it 26 points to 0, and we're 11 minutes into the second half. Okidoi begins again. The kicks aren't going quite as far into the wind. Now Kerwin to Schuster. To Brook. To Brent Anderson. Anderson's pass not so good. Oyagi. All Japan coming back to the 22. Fitzpatrick going in. He's knocked over on the 22. Good run there by Oyagi, the 26-year-old. Strong lock forward. So Shelford off to Deans. Lovely pass to Gallagher, almost into the gap. Yes, he is through. Great tackle by Mukai. Deans, now Brook. Hirao trying to get him. Kerwin trying to take it with one hand and paid the price. Shelford down. Kerwin there. And the touch judge's flag is up. So one gets the impression the New Zealand game is really starting to expand now, but the pass to John Kerwin, you'll see a lovely little floater there from Deans. Gallagher got into the clear. Kerwin was obstructed by his man, then got back into the act again. Deans to Brook. The next pass is the one that Kerwin just took with one arm, and it rolled behind him, and that's where the movement ended. So New Zealand with it now. Hooked back by Hayashi to Ikuta, to Matsuo, to Mukai. That's up near halfway from Shogo Mukai. So get the impression that the All Blacks are trying to speed this game up to really run the Japanese forwards around. That's a good catch by Latu. Shelford, the other number 8 and captain, with Brook with him. And this is hard for the Japanese team to counter. Referee Colin High playing advantage, and the penalty is for pulling it down, and that's against Hayashi, the Japanese captain. In midfield, looks like they're not going for a move, or is it Gallagher being called forward? Gallagher's right at the back, so it's a set.
Seems
plan.
to be trying to run the ball.
Japanese players taking a breather there at the 10-metre mark. Motuka. Long ball to Zinzanbrook. Deflected back on the Japanese side. New Zealand still in possession. That's Anderson. Deans. Motuka. Schuster. McDowell. Hayashi defending stoutly with the headgear there. That's the goal line in the background. There is Hayashi. He's a very stout defender. He's got this distinctive style of tying his headgear up, ties it under his lip. And there's some very tired men in the Japanese scrum. It's 10 metres out from the All-Japan line at 26-0. 14 minutes second half. That's right on the line now. Deans. Now the referee has awarded a try to Bruce Deans. And that'll be a special satisfaction to a man who's waited a long, long time to put on the black jersey, number 9, Bruce Deans. Have a look at this again. More extremely strong physical driving play by the New Zealand team. The Japanese flanker, Sakuraba, seemed to get his hand on the ball, but the referee was just to the right, and he did see enough and awarded the try for the Canterbury and New Zealand halfback. There is the conversion by John Gallagher. It's now 32-0. New Zealand leading after 15 minutes in the second half. Let's have a look at our number 6, Sakuraba, whether he got his hand underneath it. Well, I think it's a pretty fair try to me in the end for Bruce Deans. So the New Zealand team are approaching what they achieved in the first half and leading by 32-0. So Okudoi kicks it again to the try scorer a moment ago, Deans. Schuster. Zinzanbrook. That's right out in front of their posts. Fitzpatrick. Deans. Bodiger, nice hands. Punching it with the wind. Good clearance by Frano Bodiger. So he's another one who's waited a long time to get back into the New Zealand team, not having played for them for a year. Brent Anderson, another. 2 or 3 of the World Cup players will be pleased to be back in the black jersey again today. Zinzanbrook, Terry Wright. Gary Wetton and Fitzpatrick, 2 of the veterans of the World Cup success. Wetton. And Gary Wetton gets in. Straight out strength. Down to the corner flag. This is a man who's played 28 test matches and has never scored a try in a test. I guess he'll be claiming this one to be an international, although it's not quite. And through they went from the line out. Wetton handled there. He drove away with Fitzpatrick and then stayed in support. Then Fitzpatrick rolled the pass in, and Wetton, who is a very good runner, scored in the corner.
It was a great movement from the New Zealand forward. Very impressive.
And that's Gallagher's best conversion. 18 points in the second half. New Zealand 38, all Japan 0. So John Gallagher, 18 points of those 38. Question now, can the all Japan forwards maintain their effort? There's Aizawa, there's Yasumi, the 2 prop forwards. Okudoi trying a variation this time in the kick-off, kicking it to see it bounce. Gallagher, Terry Wright. Bernie McCarhill over on the far side there. He's been not in the game much at all. It hasn't run his way out at centre. His first game for New Zealand in that position. So he's gone looking for more work. And now an injury away to the right, one of the Japanese players.
Go through, eh? Go through on the line out.
Latu. There seems to be Latu.
The All Japan team played a match against the Irish universities earlier this month and lost that one by 24 points to 12. This is it Mukai, is it?
Mukai, that's right.
So there's water coming out of the kettle. He's very lightly built fullback, Mukai, but he has been very brave in defence, and he may have just taken a bump there. That's his captain, number 4. And so back goes the Japanese fullback. His 10th cap today. Japan awarding caps for this match. New Zealand are not. Fujita throws.
Well, in Japan, when we have a line that in this situation playing against the touring side, we can use Japanese words to call for the line outside signals.
McCarhill this time to Bodiger, and Bodiger has sprinted in for try number 7 for New Zealand. This one came from orthodox back movement, but Boddicker, after he passed it, you see him sprinting right around the back. Gallagher is up as extra man, in again to McCahill, and then Boddicker was put into the gap. And from 35 metres, he just had too much speed. And that's New Zealand now into the 40s.
It's a great individual effort there.
So Gallagher with 18 points. Trying to build on that at 42 points to 0. And the Japanese team at the far end feeling the effects of a very strenuous physical game. So the tries are becoming 6-pointers because that's 4 converted tries in the second half. And New Zealand now leading by 44 points to 0. The man in the foreground, in case you didn't recognize it, was Robbie McLean, the Wairarapa Bush prop forward. Made his debut in the match on Wednesday. And look how Boddicker got around and was put into the clear by McCahill's good pass. So Okidoi kicks to Boddicker again. Each kick the Japanese team has been deep. Here's Kerwin. He's been marked closely again today. But I think it was a forward pass there by New Zealand. So All Japan on attack now. Let's see if they can conjure up something in their backs. The halfback is 24-year-old Ikuta, number 9. The Japanese team are lining out. Centre Kutsuki hasn't been quite so prominent since he took that cut on the head.
Matsuo seems to be opting for the drop. Oh no.
Matsuo. Oh, good run here by Matsuo. And Okidoi. Oh, that was a big disappointment for All Japan. They are very disappointed because that's the one they were looking for. And Okidoi, the left winger, a very determined run. And look at this again. The Latu to Matsuo, and then Okidoi going at the corner, having a look closely at the replay. Yes, he was just out across the touchline, but what a brave effort by the left winger. Remember, New Zealand do not want to have their line crossed. That's a little goal they've set for themselves. And at 44-0 in the ahead, that's a shock because Japan seemed to have been played out of the game in the last quarter of an hour. Anderson takes that one in. Deans clears. Now All Japan calling for the full line-out this time, putting all 7 in. Aizawa at the front, Hayashi behind, then Oyagi. There's Brent Anderson and McDowell enjoying a little joke there at the front. Wet driving away. Excellent throw there, straight to the New Zealand jumpers. Boddicker. Big thump high up into the grandstand here at the Hanazono ground in Osaka, the Kansai province, south of Tokyo, city of some 8 million people. It rained all day yesterday. The ground a little soft in places, but pretty good really. There's the Japanese captain. And Japan have got this one. Out to Hirao, not really a running ball for him. Hirao caught by Gary Wetton. That's Aizawa. Back to Matsuo. On the angle. And that's out on the 22-meter line. Patrick getting the call. Deans into the centre where Mukai waits. Now he's sent it away. Okidoi. This is where Japan can be very dangerous. They're very sharp. Well, good tackle there by Brook. Now Oyagi. Hayashi at halfway. That's Latu. Caught by Lowe. Out to Matsuo. To Hira, to Kutsuki. Oh, the New Zealand players did look offside, but they're bursting away now. That's Makahil, number 13. All Japan in possession on their own 10-metre line. That's Oyagi, a second good charge by the lock forward. That's Latu. What a good piece of play by all Japan. Matsuo. Okidoi has kicked straight to right. That was not so good from Okidoi. And now he's going to have to try and save it. But he can't. And the try is awarded to All Black left winger Terry Wright. Some brave play here by All Japan. They were in possession a lot of the time, but Okidoi just had a lash at the ball here. It went straight to Terry Wright, and then Okidoi set sail for the corner, way to the right out of the picture. You'll see him come in. There he is, and he's trying to save his own mistake here, but it was nudged on by Wright, who just waited for the dive, and that's try for New Zealand. That's the 8th today, and the first in this match for Terry Wright. An excellent kick. Gallagher missed a couple in the first half, but that's 5 conversions for Gallagher in a row in the second half. And the 50 is up. It's 50 points to 0. Look at this again. This was the mistake by Okidoi. He got it, and just really without thinking, in haste, he kicked it straight to right across the field, and then he tried to get back and save the situation, but the bounce wasn't kind for him. Wright pushed it ahead and got the bounce. So that's Okidoi, who very nearly scored a try. And then cost his side 6 points. John Kirwan not looking 100% in this match this afternoon. He only came into the team. You see his elbow bandaged. He got a bit of a thumping up in Tokyo and went off near the end. Thrown to Brewer's jump. Shelford caught by Matsuo. Referee put his hand out. Schuster, but that's a forward pass to John Kirwan.
I think Mike Brewer is playing very well, coping against the Japanese short lineout.
There's Oyagi, who's had a very good game in the second row. Perhaps not so tall for an international lock at 1.88 m, 6'2". My word, he's been very strong and prominent in the physical exchanges. Number 9 is Ikuta. Time to go is 12 minutes. New Zealand 50, All Japan 0. This rugby coverage coming to you live from the Hanazono ground in Osaka, Japan, where it's active winger Yoshino, who's seen very little of the play. And that's Okidoi across from the left wing. That's Ikuta, the halfback. Shelford and Brook have him well and truly wrapped up. So where's the ball? Near halfway. Out into the Japan backs. That's Matsuo. That's Hayashi, the captain. Down for All Japan. But a knock on there, sadly for them, from Oyagi, the man who's been one of their star players today. My word, the Japanese crowd, they love it when their own team get going. Of course, they like any other crowd in the rugby world. And there's the Japan's second row, Hayashi and Oyagi, very, very prominent in this match. 10 minutes to play. Deans, Boddicker, Schuster, left out. McCarhill, Zinzanbrook. Oh, great tackle by Kutsuki, but the captain, Shelford, is in for the try under the posts. New Zealand 54, All Japan 0. Just look at this again. The pass out into the back saw Schuster close to Boddicker, so he was left out, and McCarhill went through. And then he linked up at halfway with the loose man. Brooke, Shelford was close by, and Brooke did the long run and then handed it on to Shelford, who also had a good long run in. And that's the 8th try of the day. Sorry, the 9th try of the day for New Zealand. There goes the 7th conversion, and New Zealand are 56 and All Japan are 0, with John Gallagher now up to 24 points. So Megumi, how do you feel now that the Japan team are playing bravely, but they're just making mistakes and letting New Zealand in for 6-pointers?
Yes, I think Japanese team should find that any way to go forward. I think the Japanese back line being pressured by the New Zealand players, running a little bit across the field, fight across the field. So that's making the players having a much stronger pressure from the opposing side.
New Zealand totally dominant now, 56-0. The Japanese team have had their moments in the game. There's Oyagi, and behind him is Sakuraba, who's a big man at 6'4" and 16.5 stone. So they've got big players in the team. That's him, number 6, Sakuraba. So the Japanese team are trying desperately to hold up the New Zealand forward charges. Now it's out to Boddicker. Again, Schuster left out. Gallagher up and onto the wing. Lovely tackle by fullback Mukai on his opposite number. McCarhill, Schuster. That's Gary Wetton. That's the halfway line. Wetton protecting the ball for Deans. McCarhill's knocked in. Advantage being applied. Well, it looked like a knock on there, but Bruce Deans is away now. And Boddicker's going to be in for the try near the posts. His second today, front oak Boddicker. There is Toshiro Yoshino, the winger, as the Japanese team going back to the goal line. Boddicker scoring the try, the kick to come from Gallagher. And the New Zealand score climbing now into the 60s. Points to 0. It's hard to see from this angle whether there was a knock on that time, but Bruce Deans put Boddicker into the clear with a nice little flip pass, and that's Boddicker's second try. And so the All Japan team coming slowly towards halfway. They've kicked all the balls deep. there's Okidoi kicking it again to Bodika.
I think it should be necessary for the Japanese team to talk each other and confirm what they should do at this stage to get out of this very bad stagnant situation for the Japanese team.
Okay, here's Hiro with his first run of the game. Made a little progress up to the wall. That's the 22-meter line. So good run there by Hirao, the second 5'8", who's, along with Kutsuki, one of the stars of Japan back play. And there he is. You could see him have a look, and then he decided to go for it. Now it's in their backs again for Japan, Kutsuki, but they've lost it forward with Mukai up from fullback. So another chance will go begging for All Japan there with about 8 minutes to go to the end of this match. The first ever live telecast coming in from rugby match in Japan. I think we've taken a live marathon before from this country. Deans, Bodika. Again, the big thump. And a huge round of applause for a gauging in the crowd. That's a foreigner. There he is, who made a very good catch. And he's obviously enjoying himself. So Brewer, who started the game being very prominent, hasn't been quite so prominent in the exchanges in the last 20 minutes or so. A Cahill through. Terry Wright's pulled that one in. Chased by Yoshino. A Cahill again. Incidentally, this match is not being telecast live here in Japan. It's being replayed at about in about 5 minutes' time. The replay starts at 3:30 local time. The major sporting event in Japan today is the beginning of the Japan Series baseball finals.
You take the high one.
There's Fujita, the hooker. But Shelford got the bounce off the halfback Ikuta, and Shelford goes in for the try. Fujita, his throwing has not been so good today. The tap that time from Hayashi was the thing that was to blame. It was away from Ikuta, and Shelford in for the try. So there he is, New Zealand's captain, Wayne Shelford, Buck Shelford, and he's added 2 of the last 3 tries, and North Harbour very prominent in the try-scoring stakes, having scored 4 of the last 5. So if Gallagher lands this one, he will have scored more in this game than Grant Fox did in the midweek match when he got 26 points. This will take Gallagher up to 28 if he lands it. $68 points to 0. Here's the try again. It came from the awkward tap by Hayashi, the captain, and the New Zealand captain was through on it. And that's his second try. 6 minutes remain in the game on the clock. Referee Colin High may see it differently. There was some thought that he stopped the midweek game 2 or 3 minutes early. Very close to the end anyway. There's the first short kick of the day by All Japan, taken by Wetton, who's fired it to Deans. New Zealand's highest score against any country is the World Cup score against Fiji when they scored 74-13, and that match was replayed on television here in Osaka in full last night. Deans in past the Wetton. Oh, lovely body swerve by Gary Wetton. John Kerwin. And Kerwin gets over for the try. New Zealand heading into the 70s now. John Kerwin started the scoring today. That's his second try. And New Zealand now 72 points to nil. The physical work by the New Zealand team, wrenching and driving, most powerful and imposing again. Then they broke clear. Bruce Deans rolled the pass inside to Wetton. A good piece of body English by Gary Wetton. Brewer's pass to Kerwin was the one that set the New Zealand winger on the charge that got him to the line for his second try. So the injured man is from the All Japan team. Could be Mukai again, I'm not sure there. But Megumi Horikoshi, do you think now that there will be a number of changes for the Japan team for the second test match next week?
I think there will be two or three changes, maybe in the back rows. Might be scrum half.
That's Matsuo, I think.
Matsuo, yes,
yes.
Matsuo.
So Matsuo is off the field, so maybe he will be replaced as well. But maybe the question might be to bring Hiro back into first 5/8 where he played in the World Cup. So the question now, I guess, is whether John Gallagher can continue to land the converted tries. He's landed 8 conversions in the second half. Marvellous kicking by the Wellington fullback, John Gallagher. That's 9 converted tries in the second half. And the match is over. New Zealand have equalled their best ever score against the country. This is not a test match, but my word, what a display for the Japanese crowd, who looked as though they've thoroughly enjoyed New Zealand winning by 74 points to nil. So a fantastic effort by the All Japan team, really. There are the traditional jersey swapping, the players embracing each other. A very fine second half effort by the New Zealand team to score all those tries and all those conversions. McDowell and Ozawa changing jerseys. Richard Lowe there. A fantastic effort by the New Zealand team. And John Gallagher just adding the points up here, and I think I could be right. I think he got 30 in all, John Gallagher from the New Zealand team, with stacks of conversions in the second half and a couple of tries as well. So a couple of penalty goals. Marvellous kicking effort, really. And there are the Japanese players with possessions that they'll treasure for the rest of their lives. Brave All Japan team who came so close to scoring a try, and the New Zealand team clapping them off the field in the traditional manner. There they go. Collector's items all from the first ever match between New Zealand and All Japan. John Gallagher gets to wear jersey number 15, and New Zealand 74 to nil. A fantastic 6 hours of live sport you've had on New Zealand television this afternoon, and from the Hanazono ground in Osaka, in the Kansai province. With thanks to Megumi Horikoshi, returning you to Jeff Bryant.
All right, the result was never in doubt, only the manner in which it was achieved. The Japanese took about 20 minutes to settle, played very well in the middle stages, but lost it towards the end. And Jock Hobbs, what did you make of all that?
Well, I think the result was inevitable, which takes a bit of a gloss off the game. I think everybody admires the courage of the Japanese. Of course, one of their problems is symbolised in the fact that Gary Wetton finds it very difficult to wash his hair in the shower.
What do you think is the value of a tour like this to New Zealand rugby?
To New Zealand rugby, we might sell some more kiwi fruit. Well, I think it's recognition. It's giving players who have given valued service throughout the year in particular people like Bruce Deans, Frano Botica, through the World Cup, and gives the opportunity for some young players to show they're worthy of being All Blacks.
What about the value then to Japanese rugby? Do you think it does them much good to be beaten 94-0 midweek, another big score today?
Well, it's a very popular game in Japan. I understand it's second to baseball, and I'm sure they're enjoying having the world champions playing in their country. I'm sure they'll have it all taped and shoved into a computer, and out will come the result in the end.
You mentioned actually kiwi fruit before. That's a very interesting point that we might talk about now. There's quite a bit of marketing associated with this tour. Is this the shape of things to come?
Swing which got nowhere near its target, but Wellington in fact were penalised, and again it's a very long kick for Grant Fox. I think it's probably beyond his range from there because he's kicking right into the teeth of the wind.
Left foot jab down the touchline.
That's a very good kick from Fox from a very oblique angle, and Auckland march inside the Wellington 22. 7 minutes to the match remaining.
A lot of those Auckland forwards, they've had a very big season, the biggest season they'll probably ever have, most of them, with the World Cup and the Ramfully Shield, and I think it's starting to tell a bit.
And the line out inside the Wellington 22. It's an untidy ball as the Auckland forwards come through over the top. I think it might have been knocked forward there by Steve McDowell. He's usually so adept at scooping the ball off the field, but at that time his hands let him down. And so Wellington breathe a little easier as they get a scrum just a few metres from their own line. And Mr. Bishop, he really has had to have his wits about him to keep those front rows in order this afternoon. As the Auckland scrum again tries to disintegrate its Wellington opponents. And it's worked because Auckland have got the put in.
This is where they're lifting themselves up, the Auckland forwards, and they're such a fit side. Jim Blair, the fitness expert, has got them really in tip-top shape. It has been a long season. It's only got a week to go domestically.
I suppose Auckland are quite happy to see the clock tick by. 6 minutes of the match remaining as the scrum goes down 10 metres from the Wellington line. As away goes Zinzan-Brook, but he's held up a metre short of the line, and as Michael Jones has a charge, they're only a metre short. Every one of the 45,000 people on their edge of the seat here at Eden Park as we watch the last 5 minutes of this titanic and epic struggle between these two teams. It hasn't been an expensive game of rugby, but it has been thoroughly enthralling right from the opening whistle.
I think that's the word, Brendan, enthralling. The crowd have only just started to come alive now. They've been sitting in their seats just wondering what was going to happen.
That special tension that only the Ranfurly Shield can breed has flourished here at Eden Park this afternoon in this match, which, as we said, has been very tight. The ball has hardly ever travelled entirely along either back line. But now Auckland with a chance in the dying minutes of the match. A couple of metres short of the line. Zinzan-Brook controlling it at the back. And Brook going over. He didn't get it down. He got to the line, but he couldn't ground the ball, and the Wellington defence still not willing to yield.
Two juggernauts. It's like two heavyweight boxers slugging it out toe to toe. And this scrum is now about what would be called a foot in our language, Brendan. Here it is. That Auckland scrum couldn't go anywhere because the Wellington scrum were looking good, and look, Brook is just short. And once again, it's Sean Fitzpatrick in the wars again, right from the first minute of play, when he got what was termed a bunch of fives in the mouth from Scott Crichton. Has never been out of them. So there it is. There's the white line. That's the goal line.
So once again, the Wellington scrum put to the sword, a metre short of the line, as 55,000 people scream for the Auckland try, and there it is.
That is the ball game.
The shield is safe as Zinzan Brook gets his 18th try of the season, and that's also a record number of tries, breaking Cal Tremaine's previous record for tries in a season by a forward. And at last, a smile breaks out on the face of Maurice Trapp, and ever cool and ever casual, just another cigar, thanks, says Earl Curtin. But there goes the shield, and I guess he knows it.
Yes, I'm afraid so. That is the ball game. There's the scrum. And watch the way Zinzan Brook controls it, picks it up, just to push it right on the spot and awards the try.
And we'll have a look at it again. This is the pain and the pressure that the Wellington scrum was under as it disintegrates. And Zinzan Brook, who's made an art form of these tries this year, goes underneath the Wellington defenders, and it's 25-18. Curtin can do now, I guess, is trudge off to the dressing room, and I've never seen an Auckland crowd as animated as this, as Grant Fox makes it 27-18 as we have a look again at that record-breaking try from Zinzan Brook. His 18th try of the season and his 17th for Auckland. The other one he got, of course, was for the All Blacks in the World Cup. Remarkable record for a forward. In fact, only John Kirwan has scored more tries than Zinzan Brook in rugby this season. And I guess the spirits of the Wellington team have taken a nosedive after that try by Zinzan Brook. There really isn't time now. We're down, in fact, to inside the last 2 minutes, 1 minute and 55 seconds as the clock counts down, and Auckland safely ahead by 9 points. I suppose you can't argue with a scoreline which shows Auckland ahead by 2-0, but what a Herculean effort it's been from Wellington. As John Kirwan, who's been watched like a hawk all afternoon, back inside to Michael Jones. And Auckland, I guess, want to enjoy the last 2 minutes of this match and move the ball as much as possible. Kirwan, Harris, to Joe Stanley. And another try. I think it might have been his brother, Marty. Well, I guess anything Marty can do, or Zinzan can do, his brother Marty can do just as well. A classic Auckland try. John
Kirwan in the play twice, but look at the way that Joe Stanley came onto the ball and inside to Robin Brook, who wobbled it a bit, and it might have actually been a suspect knock-on, but he scored the try. The referee awarded it. We'll have a look perhaps for the end on. When it went the blind side, watch the way that the ball went to the Brook brothers, I think it was. There was John Kirwan inside in the movement once, held up. Michael Jones comes over. Watch the way the Auckland forwards just go over the top, and the ball comes quickly out to Kirwan in the action again. And watch the way that Smoke and Joel Stanley comes up at full blast. Kirwan's taken out of play, and there was actually suspicion of a knock-on there from one Brook to the other Brook, and then the try.
Well, it's all rather academic, as the Shield is in fact safe and sound at Eden Park, at least for another week. It's Grant Fox with what be the final act of the match, and he raises the flag to make it 33 points to 18. So in the finish, it was a wide margin for Auckland, but it really doesn't tell the story at all of what had been Auckland's toughest match for 2 years in defence of the Ranfurly Shield. 33 points to 18, but remember, 12 of those points came in the last 2.5 minutes, and up until that stage, really, Wellington was still very much in this match. But in the end, Auckland with 3 tries, and the other 21 points coming from the boot of Grant Fox have repelled a very strong challenge from Wellington. Graham Thorne.
An enthralling challenge, though, Brendan. Wellington gave everything they had. Perhaps the tactics might have been a bit wrong if they could have used Stephen Porkery and their wingers. I don't think you can win the Shield when you take Auckland on up front. I think you've got to get the ball wide. But they were kept in the game by John Gallagher, and he had a fantastic game. He's still the sweetest kicker of the ball in New Zealand, I believe. But it was a tremendous game, and it's what Bradley Shield wrote. Okay, they didn't take the log of wood back to the Windy City, but they did put up such a tremendous effort, and their successive win record has now disappeared. They have to start again, but they were not disgraced.
So Auckland have successfully defended the Ranfurly Shield for the 7th time in 1987 and the 17th time since they lifted it from Canterbury in 1985. They were ahead by 15 points to 9 at half-time, and in the second half they scored 2 further tries to add to the one scored by John Kirwan in the first half, but they came, as we mentioned, only in the last couple of minutes of the match. And this man, Grant Fox, who had a wonderful day with his boot as well, 21 points today to give him 383 for the season, and now he needs just 17 from the last match to hit the 400 mark for the season, as Gary Wetton, in place of David Kirk, who left the field with an injury, remember, holds the Shield aloft, which is safe for at least another week. Scenes of like we haven't seen at Eden Park for this season, and there he is, a man who must be feeling emotionally rather mixed at the moment. I'm sure delighted that his team has won the Shield, but sad that he had to leave the field under such difficult and painful circumstances.
Well, down here underneath the stand is a successful captain, David Kirk. Well, you didn't see the full 80 minutes out, David, but it still must be satisfying.
Oh, it's very satisfying. I'm very pleased for the team, and we've held the Ranfurly Shield and won the national championship. It's a great achievement.
That physique of yours looks a little bit suspect. What's happened?
Oh, I can't believe it. I mean, I dislocated my shoulder. I went back in again straight away, but it's a bit sore now, and there's just no way I could go on. You know. Someone hates me.
We've got Kevin Borovich alongside us, but before I speak to Kevin, I want to say the Auckland team really were never subject to pressure like that this season that they received today from that Wellington team.
Well, I think we had an ordinary game by our own standards. I don't know, Kevin will comment, but I don't think Wellington would have felt they played particularly well either. It was a pretty ordinary game all round. And both sides made too many unforced errors, gave away too many penalties.
Kevin, your feeling?
Well, I think Auckland got the points where it was counted, and we just didn't spend enough time in their half, in their 25. That was the answer, I think.
But you gave it a fair shot today. We're all pretty assured of that.
Yeah, well, we didn't, give up trying right to the end there. But congratulations to Auckland, David Saka.
David, we must say too, just before you go out there for the celebration, great efforts by Zinzan Brook, a record for him today, and Grant Fox's contribution for another magnificent season.
Well, I think he's had a wonderful year. His all-round play has been tremendous, and of course kicking those goals at valuable times is absolutely essential.
No sign of you against Counties next week?
I don't think so. I don't think even Lazarus would make that one. And the shoulder's a bit sore, so it's goodbye really for me for a couple of years.
And we'd like to say thank you for making our season so enjoyable. Good luck for your future. We have enjoyed your company this season.
Yeah, bye.
And thank you, Kevin Borovich.
Thank you.
And Eden Park is still awash with excited Auckland fans and dejected Wellingtonians, but they've all witnessed a marvellous game of rugby, which was in doubt right up until the last couple of minutes.
Which you in Auckland can be very, very proud of. It's a wonderful team of rugby players, and they've brought great credit to your province. This has been a wonderful year for rugby, and I thank the Auckland people for what they've done on behalf of New Zealand Rugby. To the team, to David Kirk sitting up in the stand. David, he's behind me. He's right behind me. Well, here we are. He seems to get hurt, but keeps popping up every year. And I think probably this may well be the last occasion that David Kirk will play in New Zealand. And on behalf of New Zealand Rugby, I say thank you to David Kirk for what you have done in the year 1987 for our sport. I want to tell you, he's been a credit to New Zealand Rugby, both on and off the field. I've had letters from hundreds of women around New Zealand who want to hold him in their arms. To the rest of the team, congratulations, and may I introduce to you Mr. Tim Sonji, the manager of National Mutual, who will present the trophy to the team.
Thank you, Russ. Mutual is very proud to be associated with the rugby sponsorship this year. We believe in top quality in our business, and we certainly saw a top quality game today. Congratulations to Auckland, and it gives me great pleasure to present the cup to you today. Thank you.
Well, David can't hold it. What about a couple of forwards? Congratulations to all. As well as the Fred Lucas Cup, which is between Auckland and Wellington.
So all the spoils for their trophy cupboard now, all the silver.
Previous
Now David
speakers, ladies and gentlemen, I'd firstly like to pay tribute to a wonderful Auckland team and two great coaches, Maurice Trapp and Brian Williams. It's been a long, hard season, and I think the side's held up remarkably well, played some brilliant rugby. We look forward to another good game next week. Just, before I go, I want to say, firstly, one personal thing. Thank you very much for your support today, and come back next week. We need it. We needed it today. You helped us when the going got tough. And from me, thanks for the memories. Goodbye.
Ladies and gentlemen, David Kirk, an ambassador to the sport such as we've never known. And congratulations to the Auckland team, a trilogy of trophies. Thank you very much for attending. Thank you very much, Wellington, for coming and putting up such a wonderful effort. A superlative battle such as Eden Park has not seen in a long, long time.
So it's been an afternoon of rich pickings for Auckland. We shouldn't forget the fact that they have won the national championship at Wells. As well, it doesn't matter what happens next weekend in the match against counties. And even if they do lose the Shield next week, they will certainly still hang on to the national championship. As the crowd start to make their way away from Eden Park, witnessing the best game of rugby we've seen here since the World Cup final 2 or 3 months ago. And somewhere underneath there, I think we've got Earl Curtin with Philip Leishman. But I'm afraid Earl Curtin has slipped away. But down there with Philip Leishman is Grant Fox. Philip.
Well, we've got Grant and Gary Wetton here. And Grant, you better hold this up because we want a decent look at it. You've held on to it for long enough. Grant, really, your contribution this season has been quite remarkable. And I think we must pay tribute to you. It'll be a season that you'll obviously remember.
Oh, sure. It's been a great year so far. Let's not forget we've got one to go. But I'd like to pay tribute to the guys in the Auckland side because, sure, I've scored a few points, but without them maintaining the pressure, there's no way that I get the opportunity to kick goals.
Did you expect that sort of pressure from Wellington today? I mean, that's probably the strongest pressure you've struck all season.
Oh, certainly. We expected everything we got from Wellington and maybe even more. It just seems to me to be that the guys are waiting for a really stern challenge to bring the best out in us.
Gary Wetton is standing there. Can you lift that other one up, Gary? Because that's a very important one.
Yeah, it is a great one, mate.
The effort's worth it, Will. You took over a little bit of a role there with David off the field today. The pressure was right on you. Were you worried in those latter stages of the second half?
I wouldn't say worried, but I knew we had our work cut out. Wellington were playing a very powerful game. A lot of pressure was going on. Our mistakes, every time we made a mistake, it really was costing us. I wouldn't say we were worried, but we knew we had to really work for it. And I think the last 5 minutes is what real big rugby's all about, and that's when you've got to be doing the best.
Yes, Gary, now counties next week. Do you think you can bring yourselves up again for that?
That's very good. It's one thing to get overexcited now that we've beaten Wellington, but counties are a good side too, and they'll be lifting themselves for the last game of the season, and Auckland really has always had a problem the last game of the season. So we've got another big one next week for sure.
This has been a season and a half for the Wetton family and, well, for many of these Auckland players.
Oh, dead right. I think you're going to have another year like this for a very, very long time. So the Auckland team's keen to make sure we go out on the right note.
There's one other important thing I think might be happening in the next week or so. Can you tell us about that?
That's right. You can say you've got pressure and nerves in big-time rugby like this in World Cup rugby and Test rugby, but we're getting married in 2 weeks, and I think that's really got me going more than anything else at the moment.
Oh, you made a very good choice anyway, Gary. Good luck for the future and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Brendan Telfer.
Yes, and our congratulations too to Gary Wetton. Thank goodness he picked the marriage date after the rugby season had finished. And still the Aucklanders are out there on the field. Marty Brooks looks like he won't get to the showers until it's dark, as besieged by young fans here at Eden Park, having witnessed a marvellous afternoon of rugby. Auckland winning by 33 points to 18, and I think we'll leave a final word to Graham Thorne. I suppose this performance this afternoon invites the question, Graham Thorne, is this now the best provincial side New Zealand Rugby's ever seen?
I think it would have to be, especially up front, Brendan, although I'd love to see the Auckland Shield of 1961-62 backs under Fred Allen play with this forward pack and perhaps throw in John Kirwan. But the forwards are absolutely superb. They are unbelievably well drilled, they support each other, and if you're a forward of the future, all the young children out there watching that Auckland team, they just couldn't go wrong as using them as their model.
So just repeating the news here from Eden Park, Auckland have beaten Wellington by 33 points to 18 as Marty Brook tries to get a little closer to the showers, but I guess he's going to be there for some time yet. 3 tries to 0, and this is the scene inside the Auckland dressing room. And of course the Ranfurly Shield still has a one further week to run. There's another big challenge here next week against Counties. But the relief and the emotional drain coming out of the Aucklanders, they knew this was the toughest match of the season, and it lived up to its reputation. And it was a Herculean effort by the Wellington side, but in the finish, Auckland with just a little too much strength and power, running away by 33 points to 18.
Coverage of today's Hallenstein's Ranfurly Shield Challenge was presented in association with the Toyota dealer team.
Well, Grant, not a terrific game in terms of quality of rugby, but an exciting one nonetheless.
Well, indeed, yeah, that's the first thing you've got to say, Jeff. It wasn't a great game of rugby, but I guess it was a Ranfurly Shield Challenge. It was just waiting for the other side to make mistakes, and there were a lot of goals kicked. I think there might have been 15 or 16 shots at goal. But one always had the feeling that Auckland looked more like scoring tries than Wellington did, and of course they scored 3, although one has to debate that last try. I don't think it was, but never mind. They scored the tries, Wellington didn't, and as the commentator said throughout the game, if you're the challengers, you must put the acid on the team who are defending, and I don't think Wellington quite did that. They kicked it a lot.
And what price Counties next week?
Well, they beat Taranaki today by 28 points to 15, but I guess that's not saying a great deal that Taranaki have down the bottom. I really think the only way the Shield's going to go now is perhaps if Michael Fay lodges a special challenge.
Or if they change the rules. Still to come on Sport on One this afternoon. There's skiing, bodyboarding, boxing and highlights of the Otago Wairarapa Bush game. Next though, top-class skiing from the world's best professionals.
Wake up to Oki. The developers of the world's first mobile telephones now introduce their full range of Oki phones to New Zealand. To keep you ahead in today's lifestyle. Oki. To go wherever you go, keeping you in touch, across town, across the world. Oki, the first name in mobile phones. How the well-connected keep in touch. No matter where.
It was no easy road forging this great country. Times were tough. You had to work as a team, because there was only one way to get ahead. The hard way. Get stuck in was the motto. Shoulders to the wheel. But it was worth the effort though, because when you made it, victory was all the sweeter.
Dominion Breweries, meeting the challenges of a changing New Zealand.
Hey, is that a Massport smile?
Yep.
Remember last year I told you Massport was the only mower to have?
And I said I couldn't afford a new one.
And I said you'll never buy a better mower than Massport at any price. They last for yonks.
You were right. It cuts better.
I know.
Catches better.
I know.
Starts better.
I know.
I don't think Jim knows.
Massport, New Zealand's #1 seller by far. Better mowing, better value. Better to get one.
Jim! Jim!
Budget presents the weekly rate.
When some car rental companies rent you a car for 5 days, they let you keep it for 5 days. But when you rent a car from Budget for 5 days, we'll let you keep it for 7 days. 2 extra days free. That's Budget's weekly rate. We drive a 5-day week into a 7-day week, and you get 2 extra days free. Budget drives your holiday dollar further.
Ask for the weekly rate from Budget next time you rent a car.
Well, the pace not slowing down here on Sport on One. The World Professional Ski Championships were held in Keystone, Colorado earlier this year. The event we're featuring today is the men's slalom, which is raced man-on-man. The results decided on a time differential over 2 runs. Favourite for the event is the defending champion Jarle Halsnes of Norway. His main competition was expected to come from the American Kerry Adgate.
Welcome to Keystone, Colorado for the World Pro Ski Championships. Today's featured event, the men's slalom. An international field of top skiers, the fastest in the world, are here. From France, Japan, Sweden, the US, and Norway to vie for the world title. But there's one man to beat. The man whose performance has set him apart from his peers, Norway's Jarle Halsnes, the defending champion. And as they get set for the second of 2 quarterfinal runs, here's how they stand. In the first bracket, Peter Dodge of the U.S. holds a slim advantage. Kerry Adgate of the U.S. a comfortable lead in the second. In bracket 3, it's Frenchman Francois Bouillet the leader. And in the fourth bracket, it's Norway's Jarle Halsnes. Now let's go to David Stanfield for the call of the action.
Now for their second run, Edvin Halsnes, the 5-year pro from Sada, Norway. With Vermont's perennial All-Pro Peter Dodge on the red course, Edvin Halsnes on the blue course. Peter Dodge with the advantage. Edvin Halsnes now takes a slight lead. Halsnes coming on strong in the grooves and maintains his speed. Peter Dodge now brake checking, staying within the course but losing his forward momentum. There goes Edvin Halsnes. Edvin, all he has to do is make up .057. It looks like he's going to do it. Off the bottom jump. Here comes Peter Dodge. Dodge is coming on strong. Halsnes now maintaining back on his skis. 2 more gates, 1 more, across the finish line. He thinks he's done it, and he advances. Now, 4-time amateur slalom champion Kerry Adgate from Boyne Falls, Michigan, on the red course with a 1.5-second advantage over John Buxman, who's a former NORAM slalom champion on the blue course. Buxman now slightly behind, comes on strong, though. Look at him in the groove. Gets back on his skis, takes over the lead. John Buxman on the blue course from Vail, Colorado, now takes the lead. He has to make up at least a gate and a half. 1.5-second disadvantage to Buxman. He's trying to stretch out his lead. There's the finish line. He thinks he might have it. Is that a gate and a half? Cross the finish line, and it is not. Kerry Adgate advances. On course, the big Frenchman, Francois Bouillet, 6'2", 190 pounds, with a .192-second advantage on the red course, advanced when Japan's pro champion, Minato Gaku Sadaguchi, crashed and hooked a gate and disqualified himself. Looking at Sawaguchi's crash one more time, it was a right turn. His right ski hooks a gate. And he goes down hard and slides. Although this camera angle doesn't show it, this part of the course is very steep. Japan's pro champion shaken up, winded, but he's okay. Now back to the top. Sweden's John-Erik Johnson on the blue course trying to make up a 1.5-second disadvantage on the defending world champion, Norway's Jarle Halsnes. Halsnes on the red course, and Halsnes is pacing John-Erik Johnson. John-Erik Johnson getting back on his skis on the steep part of the course, still maintains his lead. Off the bottom jump, it is John-Erik Johnson on the blue course with the lead, trying to make up that seemingly impossible 1.5-second disadvantage across the finish line. It is not enough. The world champion advances.
So in the semifinals, Edvin Halsnes will meet Kerry Adgate. Francois Bouillet takes on Jarle Halsnes.
First up, Adgate on the blue, Edvin Halsnes on the red. And they're off. It's dead even at the top. Adgate now pulls out a slight lead on that very difficult blue course into the very steep section. Now Halsness is caught up. Adgate just about off course. Now Halsness takes over the lead. And here comes Adgate one more time. 3 gates, and he's already caught up. Off that bottom jump, it's Kerry Adgate on the blue course. Edvin Halsness, the national champion, on the red course. Adgate with a slight lead. And across the finish line, it is Halsness comes on to win by 0.215 seconds. Back to the top. Francois Vouillet on the red. Jarly Halsness on the blue course. Good start, both racers. Jarly Halsness with a slight lead now off that top jump. Here comes Vouillet. On the steep section of the course, Vouillet now slightly behind. Edvin Halsness' brother, his older brother, Jarly Halsness, the world champion here on the blue course. Both semifinalists. And now, Francois Vouillet has caught up with the world champion off the bottom jump. It's dead even. Vouillet with some great turns on the bottom portion of this course. But here comes the world champion. Jarly Halsness crosses the finish line. Remarkable race. He wins by 0.176 seconds.
There are the standings after the first of 2 semi-final runs, and now they're ready for run number 2.
Racers switch courses. Second run, semifinals, Kerry Adgate, red course, Edvin Halsness, blue course. Edvin Halsness with a 0.215 second advantage. Off the top jump, very steep up there. It's soft and it's very rutted. Here comes Kerry Adgate with a slight lead. Adgate with the lead. Edvin Halsness gets out of the rut, skis off course. Edvin Halsness, the national champion, disqualified. Looking at that one more time, this right-hand turn in the groove, the rut, very soft snow. He makes the turn, but he just skis out of the rut and can't make that left-hand turn. Luckily, he doesn't crash into that banner there. And Kerry Adgate moves into the finals. Now, Francois Vouillet, blue course, Jarly Halsness, red course, with a slim 0.176 advantage. Not much to play with, so he really can't pace him. He's got to stay equal with him. Jarly Halsness on the red course, the right side of your screen. Vouillet takes a slight lead on this steep portion of the course. Very rutted, very soft here on this portion. Then it doglegs down to the right. And here they come. Jarly Halsness hitting those gates, just about hooking his arm off the bottom jump. It's Vouillet with the lead. Francois Vouillet with a slight lead. Is it enough to win? Oh, he gets back on his skis a little wild. Jarly Halsness comes on strong, kicks across the finish line, the timing line. Vouillet wins by 0.100, but it's not enough. Jarly Halsness will meet Kerry Adgate.
One question remains. Can Kerry Adgate upset the defending world champion, Jarly Halsness?
Now the final matchup for the World Slalom Championship in professional ski racing. First run, Kerry Adgate, red course, Jarly Halsness, blue course. Great start for Kerry Adgate. Moves out clean on the red course, as does Jarly Halsness, the defending world champion. Halsness on the blue course. Kerry Adgate, America's 2-time Olympian. And he's slightly behind on the steep part of the course, in the rut. Adgate throwing it sideways. Halsness pulls out a slight lead. Adgate now is caught up. And now Halsness moves ahead. Off the bottom jump, it's Halsness landing first. But here comes Adgate. Oh, he gets back on his skis, loses a little bit of time. There goes Halsness, crosses the finish line. Adgate on his back, Halsness wins by 0.842. And we are set to go. The final run in the Slalom World Championship. Kerry Adgate to the left on the blue course. Jarly Halsness to the right on the red course. And they're out, and it's Adgate with a slight lead. He has to push it. He is behind by 0.8 of a second. He has to win by more than that. Gets back on his skis. Here comes Jarly Halsness. Now to the very, Halsness just about skis into his course. They both maintain, though, back on track, but it is Kerry Adgate with the lead. Kerry Adgate with the lead on the blue course. Off that bottom jump, is it going to be enough? Into the flats, Adgate looking real strong. And here comes Jarly Halsness, crosses the finish line, holds his hand up. Adgate wins by 0.487. It is not enough. 28-year-old Jarly Halsness defends the World Championship and now wins it 2 years in a row. Kerry Adgate coming in second.
Well, that's a real reminder of what top-class skiing is all about, and there's more to come when the Winter Olympics get underway in Calgary in February next year. Extensive coverage will be on Television 1. From international skiing, we come home for the Wanaka Powder 8s next.
Stands out in the crowd. Washable, versatile, the suit that cares for itself. By Visa, you could win $250 cash every month for 6 months. Visa suits by Canterbury. They'll take you anywhere.
Hey, is that a Massport smile?
Yep.
Remember last year I told you Massport was the only mower to have?
And I said I couldn't afford a new one.
And I said you'll never buy a better mower than Massport at any price. They last for yonks.
You were right. It cuts better.
I know.
Catches better.
I know.
Starts better.
I know.
I don't think Jim knows.
Massport, New Zealand's #1 seller by far. Better mowing, better value. Better to get one.
Jim.
Jim.
We're the men from Mini Skip. We're the men from Mini Skip. Transportable steel rubbish tip. Transportable steel rubbish tip. We're fast and clean and dirt cheap too. Fast and clean and dirt cheap too. Call the number near to you. Call the number near to you.
In Auckland, call 510-011. In Wellington, 326-050. And in Christchurch, 66636. Call now. We're ready to take your orders. For your next general cleanup.
Way mixers, Canada's here. Canada Dry. And it's dry. I mean dry. So dry. Every drink as dry as the first. Dry. Ooh, dry. D-R-Y. Canada Dry. Every drink as dry as the first. Canada Dry.
Look, I was trying to find the words to describe how well this car goes around corners. This is the larger Oxford Dictionary, by the way. Then I remembered that a picture's worth 1,000 words, so here it is. Still doesn't tell you much, though, does it? So, do me a favour. Take the car for a drive, a proper drive, a day or two. Then you explain it. I warn you, it isn't easy. There's a dictionary in the back of every car. Not really.
As spring breaks in the country, it's time to flock to Wrights & Dalgety to take stock of the amazing crop of merchandise available right now in the Wrights & Dalgety Spring Fair 87 promotion. A fantastic collection of country commodities at very fair prices. A wide range of quality products for the farm, for the home. Wrights & Dalgety's Spring Fair 87. It's on now.
To the Wanaka Powder 8s now, and action to delight the skier who likes to boldly go where no skier has gone before. To do that these days, it's necessary to A, find an isolated spot, and B, find a helicopter. A couple of months ago, a group of Powder Hound skiers did just that, getting up into the Harris Mountains behind Lake Wanaka. Down the bottom of the South Island of New Zealand, in the mountains behind Lake Wanaka, they hold an event called the Powder 8s. Pairings of international heli-ski freaks chopper into the Harris Mountains for a unique test of synchronicity. There's a prize, but it's far outweighed by the exhilaration of choppers, pristine snow, and friends. The rules are simple. Neatest tracks win.
The judges will not begin to judge you until you have skied down over that first roll. So you do have 20 yards to get your act together. After that, you will be being judged. The snow is just a little bit patchy at the top here. After you come over that roll, the snow is good, and you will have begun to have been judged from that point. Okay, when you're ready, you guys. Good luck.
New Zealand ski champion Simon Wiiruteni is paired with visiting Volvo Ski Show member and Swedish freestyle champion Johan Persson. Although exponents of another form of skiing, the basics are the same. Wolfgang Heine and Werner Hanni are favourites and defending champions. In all, 16 teams from New Zealand, North America, Europe and Australia took part. The judges check for tight, rounded tracks and style of execution. Both skiers won. It's a mirror image of rhythm. The effort of continuous turns in the powder snow is demanding on concentration and the legs. Mike Schenkel and Swiss Roger Hovey carved tidy tracks in the first of 2 judged runs each team gets. Monoski standouts in the crowd were a pairing of the "one ski's easier to keep your feet together than 2" brigade. Regardless of whether they make the final 4, 2 or 3 runs in good virgin snow on a beautiful day and a great lunch in the middle of nowhere is certainly worth the experience. Hovey and Schenkel make the final 4 and are judged the best tracks of the day. A welcome break for lunch and a chance to assess their performance before the final run.
Probably a bit too flat, the whole slope. But
it takes a lot of work this fall. It takes a hell of a lot of work.
Yeah, that was better.
Keep turning and turning.
That's a tough one.
Yep.
That last section was nice.
That was excellent.
Got a little bit steeper.
I think you guys
and
might
it's
have
less
it cleaned
effort,
up, actually.
Who wants to give us?
Yeah. Thanks, Roo. Thanks, Roo. Just give me the
I'll give
tickets.
Prize money? Maybe second prize at the atomic ski.
Yeah.
35 and 36, Wolfgang Heine and Werner Hanni are a classy act. They've been 4th at the World Powder 8s contest. It's a display of great technical ability and understanding between the 2. Watching good exponents of figure 8s being carved in the snow is kind of like your TV set is ghosting. For the record, Wolfgang and Werner won it, with Schenkel and Hobie second, and Pat Stearns and Mark Fetu of New Zealand third. And the prize? Entry into the World Championships and a week's free heli skiing in Canada. It's a tough life. Nice work if you can get it. All right, more skiing tomorrow on Sunday Grandstand with a report on the New Zealand ski team. From the snow-covered slopes, we go to the enticing waters of Hawaii for the 1987 International Professional Bodyboarding Championships. It's held on the north shore of the island of Oahu. And in the winter, the Pacific Ocean comes crashing into the reef, setting up a special wave known as the Banzai Pipeline. The best bodyboarders in the world came to ride this dangerous pipeline.
The north hook kind of pushed him over into the whitewater.
Seems to be the story. Here's our defending champion, Ben Severson.
Oh, that's great. He does a little drop knee off the top and, but kind of bites into the reef there.
Now, he'll get points for that, though, won't he?
Yeah, he still gets points for everything he does. So, but that was pretty good, for that wave.
Okay, here's Pat Caldwell with his first wave of the heat.
Yeah, most of the waves, it looks like they're kind of closing out right there.
And Mike Stewart's caught a big one out there.
That's a beautiful wave. He caught the west peak. He does a nice cutback and dropping in, and beautiful through the lip roll. Beautiful. That was a great wave. He should get a lot of points for that. Milking it for everything it's worth. Nice wave for Mike Stewart.
Probably the wave of the heat so far. It looks like these conditions are not exactly what everybody likes. Here's Tom Boyle on the outside.
Nice wave for Tom also. The west peak, a little tube, closes out on him, though. I don't know if he'll make it out.
And Kalani Kahaliumi again.
Kalani with a beautiful belly spin. Oh, almost made it off the top there.
Oh, he got sucked right over with that one. That's probably got it.
That was a nice wave, but it just didn't quite make it.
Now here's Ben Severson outside. He wants to hang on to that title.
Beautiful. Through the lip roll again. Coming out right through the whitewater, belly 360. He can get a lot of points for that. Ben with a strong showing on that wave. Nice, still milking it, and then bails out.
Outside we have Tom Boyle up and riding.
Nice wave for Tom also. He does a belly 360, very clean, and up and around. Nice little roll, and he'll get a few points for that. It's a good wave.
Here we go, Mike Stewart once again.
Nice wave, nice roll. Look at that, patted into El Rolo, belly 360, just tallying up the points once again.
Let's take a look at that on the replay there.
Okay, if you look at him, look at how he arches his head and just picture perfect El Rolo right there. And then he whips it around a beautiful belly 360 and continues riding on the wave. Very strong wave for Mike Stewart.
Certainly is. Mike seems to be doing very well in this. Looks like Pat Caldwell's paddling.
Pat's dropping in on a very nice wave. Drops in, but it looks like it's too much of a north peak again. He just kind of wipes out in the old washing machine there.
A strong current. Well, that's kind of an understatement. Here's Ben Severson up on the outside.
It's a nice wave for Ben also. He's kind of behind the peak, but he whips off a belly 360, and he's very choppy out there. It looked like he caught a bit of a north peak on that one.
Dave, can you make an estimation of who seems to have the edge right now?
Well, it's hard to say, but it looks like Mike Stewart might be doing pretty well.
And here's Tom Boyle up on another one.
Yeah, that was a good wave for Tom, except it wasn't that long. So he'll get some points for that, but not quite as many as the one that's coming up here. It looks like Mike Stewart dropping in, a little bit behind the peak again, and he looks up, just didn't quite make it. That was that north hook that's wrapping in.
Well, meanwhile, as the clock winds down, the competitors are waiting out there, and it looks like Pat Caldwell's going to grab one.
Well, Pat drops in. He does a belly 360. Looks like he's going for the backwards riding technique there, and just rides through the whitewash.
Seems like they're spending most of their time in that whitewash today. And we have J.P. Patterson up.
J.P. once again getting caught behind that north hook. That's kind of playing a major factor in today's contest. So we'll see what happens here. That looks like it's hurting some of the contestants, but they're milking it for everything it's worth.
Here comes Tom Boyle again.
Tom getting through the tube once again, but taking it through the cycle there and getting too far inside.
As you can see by the clock, there's just about 30 seconds remaining in the heat. Looks like Ben Severson's caught his last wave of the day, probably.
Nice big wave for Ben, but then again, that north hook closed out on him. I'm sure, yep, there he goes with some belly 360s and trying to take it as far as he can.
Well, everybody is right now. Here's Kalani Kahaliaumi for his last wave.
He's milking it inside for the last wave from that north hook.
Here are your final results. Mike Stewart capturing this year's title, followed by Ben Severson in second, Tom Boyle in third, J.P. Patterson in fourth, Kalani Kahalinga-Umi, and Pat Caldwell. The conditions were treacherous, and as Dave Kneff mentioned earlier, the contest could have gone to anyone, but Mike Stewart proved to be in the right place at the right time and takes home $4,000 as his reward.
Still to come this afternoon on Sport on One, there's boxing, rugby and a review of the sporting day. And next, a quick review of victorious moments from several important boxing clashes this year.
This is the Amiga 500 from Commodore. It's the computer to handle all your computing needs and do things that most others would envy. You see, when the work is done, it's a whole lot of fun.
The Amiga 500's amazing. It's so easy to design and draw using the mouse. The brilliant screen makes it real.
As a music maker, the Amiga 500's great. It'll produce almost any musical instrument, and you can create anything from a melody to a symphony.
I am a whole lot of fun.
If you're not giving your sandwich Coleman's mustard, it may not like it.
That's not Coleman's!
Come on, listen to your food. Coleman's is the premium mustard that adds the finishing touch to all good food. Delicious. Coleman's, the premium mustard. Be good to your food.
Lick that tic-tac with a taste that you just can't hold back. When you're bored with the other, you know that tic-tac will get you out of a hole. Lick that tic-tac with a taste that you just can't hold back. When you're bored with the other, you know that tic-tac will get you out of a hole. Lick that tic-tac.
If you're ready for the pro-quality alternative to electric trimmers, listen up. That's an easy starting echo you hear. That's an easy starting, easy handling echo you hear. And it'll make a pro out of you. I hear you. Take it from Dick Butkus.
Echo, first from the start.
When you're ready to have a great-looking garden, your local Echo dealer is listed in the yellow pages under chainsaws.
New Zealand beef and lamb. There's nothing like it in the world.
Introducing the one and only Morrison 3-in-1. The one that cuts and catches wet grass and long. Cuts and dispatches to the closest edge. Mows and mulches, feeding your lawn while making it easier to cut. Morrison 3-in-1. 3 functions, 1 result. A great finish. Now in electric too.
Our first fight is a heavyweight clash between Ronaldo Snipes, who's won half his 26 fights by knockout, and Tyrrell Biggs, unbeaten in 12 fights. The bout was scheduled for 10 rounds. We pick up the action in round 3 with Snipes in the blue shorts.
That was a solid right by Snipes, right on the eyebrow of Biggs. And 3 wild misses by Snipes, as Biggs continues to measure his man. There, Biggs opens up. And a solid right to the jaw, and Snipes is down. Pain etched on his face as the bell interrupts the standing 8 count. Snipes was about to throw a right of his own, but he never got it off his hip. In this angle, coming right at you, look out. Ronaldo forgot to duck. One more look from above this time as Biggs leaps into the blow with tremendous force.
Well, Snipes came back to go the distance, but Biggs ended up winning the fight, and Tyrrell Biggs, in fact, will be fighting the big name of boxing at the moment, Mike Tyson. You can see that fight on Sport on 1 on the 17th of October. We move now to the WBA Welterweight Championship, and the experienced South African Harold Volbrecht was fighting Mark Breland of the States, who is unbeaten going into this fight, having won 11 of his 16 fights by knockout. We join the bout in round 7, Breland in the blue shorts.
Oh, there's the right hand. That's the most telling blow of the bout, and it buckled Volbrecht. And down goes Volbrecht. Just under a minute to go in the 7th round.
He's not getting up. He's quit.
It is all over. Mark Breland has won the WBA welterweight title, stopping Harold Volbrecht in round number 7. Here is another look at the knockout, the right hand.
Now, you could truthfully say that he won the welterweight championship with a right hand. This is a right-handed fight all the way.
Well, there doesn't look much of him, but he obviously packs a mean punch. The records of Donald Curry and Tony Montgomery suggested a close contest in the USBA Middleweight Championship. Curry had won 80% of his bouts by knockout, and Montgomery had not lost any of his 17 fights. The contest was to end in controversy in the 5th round. Curry is in the white shorts.
Montgomery's not throwing punches back.
Tim, he's out of gas. Completely out of gas.
Again, the head. Now, they're watching that cautiously because in the fight in September, they're taking a point away from Montgomery, and rightfully so. In the fight in September, when Donald Curry lost to Hunnigan, he received a headbutt that opened a gash over his eye that needed 20 stitches to close.
I think Montgomery's looking to get disqualified, Tim. That's the only thing I can think of.
A real crisp, straight left hand, right on the button at Montgomery. Curry measuring.
And he did exactly as I said. He looked to get disqualified. He got disqualified.
Oh, and Donald Curry comes up and throws a punch to Montgomery's head after the fight had ended. They're throwing things in the ring. Oh, it's ugly, Gil.
Yes, it certainly is. Sonny Ray, an ex-fighter himself, and a pretty good one. He wants to go over and he wants to fight with the Donald Curry people.
Sonny Ray pushing security people. There he is. The fight had been stopped by the referee, James Molinell, for headbutts. He had had enough. He ended it.
They had words with.
And this is where it ends.
This is after about 6 or 7 previous warnings. And look at that head. The head hit Donald Curry right on the chin.
Now here comes Curry. The fight's over. Curry knows it's over. And watch the right hook, right on the button.
That's a finish more suited to all in wrestling. We return to the heavyweights now for the bout between Smokin' Bert Cooper and Canadian Willie DeWitt. Both fighters had had 15 fights. Cooper for 14 wins, 12 inside the distance. DeWitt a 100% record with 11 knockouts. So a rousing bout in prospect. DeWitt is in the white shorts.
DeWitt short with that last right hand.
Tim, he's not stopping Bert Cooper with that jab.
Cooper taking the chance to counter now because he's able to read those hands of DeWitt.
Now he's coming.
A combination again by Cooper.
And blood from the nose of DeWitt.
DeWitt in the corner and Cooper all over him. Down he goes again. Second knockdown in this round.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Look, putting his punches together, and look how accurate that Cooper's hands are for a good puncher and a big guy.
Bobby Ches held the NABF Light Heavyweight Championship going into this bout with Willie Edwards. The experienced Ches had lost just one bout in his professional career. Willie Edwards had 16 knockouts in his 22 wins. It was a scheduled 15-round fight, but it went nowhere near that. Ches is in the white shorts.
Now Edwards with the body and up to the head with a right hand.
Looks like Ches is cut over the left eye. Tit for tat.
Ches backing up Edwards into the corner. Right hand, he's got Edwards in trouble. Edwards is wobbly.
And he's holding on.
Edwards,
minute to go, Tim, and there he goes. Big right hand. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Edwards just trying desperately to stay on his feet during this sequence, and there's one more big right hand. There it is.
And there it is, Tim, right on the button.
A home run ball that was thrown by Bobby Ches.
And our final fight features Donald Curry again. 2 months after he'd beaten Montgomery on that head-butting disqualification, he was in the ring again defending his USBA Junior Middleweight Championship against the #1 contender, Carlos Santos. Curry was wearing the white shorts. Well, Donald Curry must be wondering why on earth his opponents keep trying to headbutt him on the chin. Just a reminder that Tyrrell Biggs, the heavyweight that we saw in our first boxing review, is fighting Mike Tyson, World Heavyweight Champion. You can see that bout on Sport on One on October the 17th. Right now we have a preview of forthcoming sporting events. Here's Peter Williams.
3 big motorsport events dominate October and November. On October the 4th, it's the James Hardy 1000 live from Mount Panorama, Bathurst in New South Wales. And 3 weeks later at Labour Weekend, the Group A touring cars are on the Wellington waterfront for the Nissan Mobile 500. Both events are rounds in the World Group A Championship. In mid-November, Formula One comes to Adelaide for the final round of the World Drivers' Championship, the Australian Grand Prix. On October the 17th, you can see Mike Tyson defend his World Heavyweight title against Tyrrell Biggs. And from October the 3rd, Susan Devoy defends her World Women's Squash title in Auckland, and then leads the New Zealand team of 3 as they attempt to win the team's title as well. The All Blacks are on tour in Japan in October and early November. Television One will show 3 matches out of the 5 on this trailblazing tour of an emerging rugby nation. In a fortnight, there's highlights of the Sydney Rugby League Grand Final, just hours after the big event at the SCG. In December, some of the best golfers in the world tee it up in New Zealand's 2 major tournaments, the Air New Zealand Shell Open at Titirangi and the Nissan Mobile New Zealand Open at Heretatonga. Live coverage of the 3rd and 4th rounds of both tournaments feature on the first 2 weekends in December. Once again, we'll show you the big races of the Melbourne Spring Carnival, the Derby, the Cox Plate, the McKinnon Stakes, and the big one on the first Tuesday in November, the Melbourne Cup. Starting on December the 4th, there's extensive live coverage of the New Zealand cricket team in Australia. 3 test matches finishing just before New Year, and then the triangular World Series Cup with Australia and Sri Lanka. The World Bowls Championships come to New Zealand for the first time in February. Peter Ballas defends his singles title at Henderson, and there's live coverage every day of the championships here on Television One. And the first of 2 great sporting festivals of 1988 will be featured extensively between February the 14th and 28th. The Winter Olympics come in from Calgary in Canada.
So there we are, plenty of sporting entertainment to enjoy on our screens over the next few months. Coming up next, highlights of an important game in the National Mutual Rugby Championship. For Otago, a chance to consolidate their position. For Waitat Upper Bush, a chance to gain much-needed points.
$50 this one.
Right. Just had a hair done today. He's that nice young man again.
He's pressed the wrong numbers.
Oh, he got it wrong yesterday too.
Time for a break.
Let's have a Kit Kat.
When you have a break, have a Kit Kat. Crisp wafer fingers covered in milk chocolate.
Oh, he's got it right.
Have a break. Have a Kit Kat.
We're the men from Mini Skip. We're the men from Mini Skip. Transportable steel rubbish tip. Transportable steel rubbish tip. We're fast and clean and dirt cheap too. Fast and clean and dirt cheap too. Call the number near to you. Call the number near to you.
In Auckland, call 510-011. In Wellington, 326-050. And in Christchurch, 66636. Call now. We're ready to take your orders. For your next general cleanup.
Way mixers, Canada's here. Canada Dry. And it's dry. I mean dry. So dry. Every drink as dry as the first. Dry. Ooh, dry. D-R-Y. Canada Dry. Every drink as dry as the first. Canada Dry.
Mitre 10 have done it again with great prices on these popular heavy-duty tools. So right now, get stuck into your special do-it-yourself projects for much less.
Good on ya.
This big 17-inch pole and line trimmer is cut back to only $199.
Good on ya.
The price on this mighty 5-speed drill press is only $289.
Good on ya.
And this tough 6-inch bench grinder is a low $95.
Good on ya, Mitre 10, you've done it again.
Hey, is that a Massport smile?
Yep.
Remember last year I told you Massport was the only mower to have?
And I said I couldn't afford a new one.
And I said you'll never buy a better mower than Massport at any price. They last for yonks.
You were right. It cuts better.
I know.
Catches better.
I know.
Starts better.
I know.
I don't think Jim knows.
Massport, New Zealand's #1 seller by far. Better mowing, better value. Better to get one.
Jim.
Jim.
Tonight, fun and frivolity on the Paul Daniels Magic Show.
This is going to be a piece of Indian magic you've never seen before.
The final of Paul Daniels Magic Show tonight.
In Dunedin today, Waitat Upper Bush and Otago played their penultimate games in this year's championship. Both sides have been playing well lately, both giving Wellington a hard time over the last couple of weeks. A win to Otago would leave them very close to ensuring third place on the table. A win to Waitat Upper Bush would put a welcome distance between themselves and bottom-placed Taranaki. Plenty to play for then. Our commentator is Keith Quinn.
Television New Zealand, in association with National Mutual, presents highlights from National Mutual Rugby.
What's the line? What's the line? 3 minutes gone in the first half. There's the Wairarapa Bush scrum putting in the big weight. They've gone well in recent weeks. And the Otago number 8, Brent Pope, driven away, but here's early chance for penalty points to Otago as a penalty against the Wairarapa Bush forwards. And that's put Otago on the board with the first penalty of the match converted to points, and Otago in the lead by 3 points. Nearly 7 minutes gone first half. Defensive scrum wheeled away by Wairarapa Bush. Helena to Sargent to Harvey. There's Arthur Stone, a hand off by Stone, and that's bad defence by Wairarapa Bush, and a well-taken chance by Arthur Stone, the first try of the game. Wairarapa Bush looking good as they wheeled away here. Helena to Sargent, but here's where they lose it. Harvey somehow got away from him. Look at the fend off by Arthur Stone here. Boof, he goes right past Brent Anderson's upright tackle, then right through Rootney, and the defence not at home. Stone in under the posts. So there's Ellison's conversion, and Otago, after just 7 minutes, out now to a good 9-point lead. Stone again. They're trying that crash ball a lot from the second 5/8 position. This time Houghton clears it out to the drop kick from Haggett, and that's finally some addition to the scoring. After 30 scoreless minutes, Otago have increased to 12-0.
That's the blind!
Now Kenny, who's had a feast of ball to play with today, away to Houghton. Kenny again, good passing to Haggett, to Stone. Haggett nearly through the gap. That's how far away it is. Now the Wairarapa Bush team trying to hold them up there. Excellent position for the drop kick. Kenny, he's got no first 5/8 to pass to, so he goes on his own. And he didn't. Good decision by referee. Bounced the ball. Now Mark Benton might kick this one from the 22. A good decision by referee Farnworth. He didn't quite get the ball down, Dean Kenny. Reece Ellison, the game coming alive a wee bit here in the second half. And there's a head high by Greg Taratiana on John Haggett. So this is Reece Ellison after 5 minutes of the second half. And Ellison has put Otago further in the lead now with that his second penalty of the day, and the lead now by 15-0. 9 minutes gone, second half. It's 15 points to nil. The home team in the blue leading the visitors from Wairarapa Bush. Good jump by McPherson. Kenny to Haggett. Stone got it. Well driven by Otago. It's 15 metres out. And a chance here for Otago to add yet more points with that penalty right out in front of the post. So there's Ellison adding 3 more points, and Otago now clearing out. 18-0 they lead. "15 minutes gone. Otago going for the big scrum, but that Wairarapa Bush scrum will be hard to shift. They seem to have some momentum going. Kenny now to Pilcher. Otago in control there. Number 4 is Richard Knight. There he has put it back onto the ground. Kenny, good ball for Brewer, the captain, driving at the line. He had just a few metres to go. And again, Otago have the loose head. So Mike Brewer going pretty well there on the side of the scrum today. Coming off, you see, with the Otago loose head, just 7 men in the scrum. So Kenny going to test the Wairarapa Bush in midfield. Pilcher stretches out and gets there. They had stood Brewer off to the left, but the play went to the right, and the big winger was waiting in the centre because Brewer had guarded the left wing, and Pilcher has the strength. Conversion by Ellison. It's now 24 points to nil to Otago. Just been 2 tries in the game so far. One to Sarah Stone, one to Noel Pilcher. 24-0. Haggett running wide. They like Pilcher on the crash, and Pilcher gets in under the post with the same recipe as before. Crash, bang, Pilcher's in. Here it comes again with just simple tactics by Pilcher. He just shoulders them all off and in for his second try. As Ellison converts, and the margin now goes up over 30 points. Otago leading 30-0. So with 3 minutes to go, a penalty chance taken from the spot. Puts Brent Anderson into a charge inside the 22. Lost again. That's the way it's been for Wairarapa Bush today. They've just lost their chances. They haven't scored any points, and they've conceded 30. This is Mike Brewer. Nice pass he set up for Dennis Woods. Excellent to David Latter now. Over halfway come the Otago team. Benton has Latter. Back to Pope, carried on again by Otago. Down towards the 22, Otago way on top here. John Latter, out to Richard Knight. Out into the backs to Haggett. Long ball from Stone. Hamilton to Pilcher. And is he going to get his hat-trick? Noel Pilcher has got a hat-trick of tries today. That was a team effort, but well finished off by the big burly winger. And Otago out to 34-0. It was a long driving movement which came from the other end of the field when Wairarapa Bush lost possession. Otago swept up to this position. John Latter out in the backs. The lock forward Richard Knight. Haggett shifted it on. A long ball coming from Arthur Stone. Then fast hands by Hamilton. And Pilcher had some work to do, didn't he? But he could only see one way, the short route. He likes to go straight at them, and he got the try. A hat-trick of tries today for the big left winger, Noel Pilcher.
Coverage of National Mutual First Division Rugby was presented in association with National Mutual.
Well, Grant, a big win for Otago there. Wairarapa Bush playing so well against Wellington last week, obviously not doing so well this week against Otago. It's a big game for them next week.
It is indeed, yes. They play Taranaki next week. Fortunately for them, the match is in Masterton, and really it decides who goes down to the second division next year. And equally, the match between Hawke's Bay and North Harbour being played in Napier decides who comes up. So next week really is a big week. Yes, Wairarapa Bush always seem to fire up for the Wellington game just across the hill.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I think because of the proximity so close to Wellington, they probably can hear the Wellington radio stations and read the Dominion and all the rest of it. But they get down into the bottom of the South Island there in Otago. Really had a very good season. They've finished third, or virtually finished third now in the National Championship, and clearly have taken over the mantle from Canterbury as South Island's best rugby side.
All right, we've got the New Zealand team to Japan being named very soon. Any picks for that?
Well, in terms of what we just saw in that match, Mike Brewer and Dean Kenny, I think, would be two players certainly in the Otago side. But it's a very difficult team to name because we don't know quite what the mix is going to be. There are going to be some established All Blacks and some new players. But just looking at that particular game, I think that of the two Otago, or the Otago players in that side, Mike Brewer and Dean Kenny must be two who are close, if not in.
All right, Grant, well, we'll see how you get on when the team is named. And Grant will be back with Scoreboard next on Sport on One.
Yeah, you know what it takes, and you're ready today to take them all on. You got the measure of your man, and you know that you can go all the way. Give it to him. Yeah, give him a taste. Give him a taste of Kiwi. Hey, Kiwi. Show him you're the best. You're the best. Give him a taste of Kiwi.
Lion Red League Nationals, the best of the clubs, the best of the Kiwis.
Give him a taste.
Stands out in the crowd. Washable, versatile, the suit that cares for itself. Buy Visa. You could win $250 cash every month for 6 months. Visa suits by Canterbury. They'll take you anywhere.
New Bushell's Master Roast, a blend of the finest quality coffee beans captured in granules to give you richer, fuller, more satisfying coffee flavour.
I love our good friends.
And I love our weekends.
One thing I do love.
Great coffee.
And I love a cup of Bushell's Master Roast coffee.
Coffee?
Love a cup.
This is the Amiga 500 from Commodore. It's the computer to handle all your computing needs and do things that most others would envy. You see, when the work is done, it's a whole lot of fun.
The Amiga 500's amazing. It's so easy to design and draw using the mouse. The brilliant screen makes it real.
As a music maker, the Amiga 500's great. It'll produce almost any musical instrument, and you can create anything from a melody to a symphony.
I am a whole lot of fun.
Oh, g'day. Me and the boys been digging the ground, getting ready for the crops. Cold one we're coming.
Let's dig a store out of them. Yeah. Thanks, Jim. You need tools that'll last, like these.
They're not namby-pamby, and they don't fall to bits the moment you look at them. Silver Fern's the story. A butte range of tougher tools built for Kiwi conditions. Silver Fern, tougher tools for Kiwis. Old Digger, his last job was the Hayman Tunnel.
Welcome back to Sport on One. Now today's scoreboard program, starting with rugby and today's First Division results. And the big one at the top there, Auckland scoring 3 tries to 0, beat Wellington 33-18. They win the National Championship, the Fred Lucas Trophy, and retain the Ranfurly Shield. Other matches today, North Auckland led 25-0 at half-time and finally got up 28-20 over Manawatu. As we saw, Otago far too good for Wairarapa Bush 34-0. Taranaki, another loss there, 15-28 counties the winners. And unbelievably, Waikato led 19-7 at one stage and lost to Bay of Plenty by 46 points to 25. The points table in the National First Division, Auckland have won it. The real interest now is at the bottom, the big match next week between Wairarapa Bush and Taranaki. Now to the second division, and North Harbour continued on their winning way today, beating Wanganui by 32 points to 6. And as we look at the championship table there, we see that the big match next weekend is between North Harbour and Hawke's Bay to decide who in fact goes through to the first division next season. And one match in the third division today saw Poverty Bay 38, Thames Valley 10. And as we look at the championship table, we see that Poverty Bay have won the third division championship. That's our rugby for today. Now we go to soccer, and there was an important match played in the Chatham Cup today. The semi-final played in Gisborne. Gisborne City, with a goal by Paul Nixon in the 26th minute of the second half, beat North Shore 1-0. And the first of a two-legged final, the first match being played in Gisborne next weekend, Gisborne City against Christchurch United. Now to today's racing and the meetings throughout the country, and we go firstly to the meeting in the North Counties. Morsel and Tasman Dancer, making a first start for the season, was the winner of the second leg. The double 29-20, the concession 27.55. Boy, wouldn't you like that treble? $10,868.50. To Otaki Maori, the veteran, our boyfriend, led all the way to win the first leg. Lady Aloof completed the double, not much worth much there, $9.50. Noggin completed the concession at $15.30. And today's treble, $414.40. To the trots at Ashburton, Happy Sunrise is now a cup class horse, having won the Flying Stakes at Ashburton. Tyrone Scotty won the big trot, $12 even was the double. Simon Katz was second in the second leg. And the TAB treble down there today, $114.60. And finally, some motor rally news. Further round of the New Zealand Championship, the Helen Lights Rally in Auckland. This is just progress at the moment. Tony Teasdale is the leader by 48 seconds from Ray Wilson. Malcolm Stewart is lying third. Mike Montgomery fourth. And the championship leader, Possum Bourne, is currently in fifth place. And that, Jeffrey, is the latest in sports news.
All right, Grant, thank you. There's a great deal of sport to look forward to this weekend. Tonight on Television 1, there's more American football. That's at 9:45. It remains to be seen if the strike over there by the players will affect our upcoming coverage. The featured game on Big League Soccer tomorrow is Newcastle at home to Liverpool. I won't tell you the score, but there were 5 goals scored, so plenty of action there. That's followed by results from the games played tonight our time. Tomorrow afternoon from 25 to 4, the skiing, international amateur athletics, 3 games from the First Division in their rugby roundup. Keith Quinn brings us the right stuff. And there's a preview of the big grand final from Sydney's Rugby League being played later in the day. In fact, at 10:25 tomorrow night, you can see highlights of the Rugby League. The fancied Manly side against the sentimental favourites, Canberra. Both sides having a Kiwi player. Brent Todd in the Canberra side and Darryl Williams in the backs for Manly. Next Saturday afternoon, Sport on One returns with another varied lineup. There's the World Women's Squash Championships featuring Susan Devoy, who is featured so glamorously in this week's Listener. There's more skiing, the 1987 World Cup Freestyle Men's Aerial, and a preview of the 20th anniversary James Hardy 1000 raced at Bathurst. The final in an event that arouses the passions of the good citizens of Victoria, Australia. It's Aussie Rules, the final of the VFL between Carlton and Hawthorn, and the final challenge of the Hallensteins Ranfurly Shield Series. It's Auckland's 8th defence this season, and it's against counties. All right, now in February next year, the Winter Olympics will be in full swing. A fortnight of high-speed action, like the ice hockey. Now, in 1980, the Russians, favourite to win the event, were beaten by a very young American side. In 1984, in Sarajevo, they had the chance for revenge. They were playing their Eastern Bloc neighbours, Czechoslovakia.
Very good opportunists. They are good scorers. The as Mike Ruzioni said before, the Soviets, if they have an advantage, it is there. They're better opportunists.
This is Grozdievsky, number 13. He centers it, and he gets it back and then shoots wide, just wide.
Usually they're better opportunists. Grozdievsky had the whole open net.
And Grozdievsky has scored 10 goals in this tournament. He's number 13. Shot in, hits the crossbar, and then bounces in off Schindl's shoulder. It hit the crossbar and then deflected in off the back of Jaromir Schindel at the 6:38 mark as the Soviets take a 1-0 lead. Konlets keeps it back in, but Kasatonov comes up with it up ahead to Larionov, who circles. Larionov still controlling. Over to Vasiliev, who shoots and scores. It's Krutov who puts it in for the Soviets.
All right, Grant, the big game of the domestic rugby season over and done with, and in terms of quality of rugby, it really didn't live up to the hype, did it?
No, too many mistakes made, I think, would be fair to say. As I said earlier, a lot of penalty kicks at goal, but Auckland, basically, I think, Jeff, were the better side on the day. They looked the side who were going to score the tries. They did, in fact, score 3 in the finish. Wellington did their best. I think they're clearly the second best team in the country, but there's no stopping Auckland at the moment. They're a very good team with their 13 All Blacks, and well, I don't know whether it's all going to stop, really, because I don't imagine too many of those players are going to retire, and Auckland look pretty set for the Ranfurly Shield, I think, for a while.
Sure, it's still quite a young side, isn't it?
Well, indeed it is, yes. Of course, they will lose David Kirk, but basically, I think most of those players will stick with it.
Well, they seem to have a ready-made replacement for Kirk anyway. He seems to be able to step into the side quite happily.
Yes, I wouldn't mind betting the Auckland B team would beat most of the teams in the First Division anyway.
I would think so. Well, Grant, thanks for joining us on Sport on One. And we've now we have the tries now from the Auckland Ranfurly Shield game against Wellington. On behalf of Grant Nisbet, good night.
David Kirk, and through the gap goes John Kerwin. Yes! The Wellington scrum has gone down, and so Auckland decide to spin it. It's good tactics. John Kerwin, but Schuster has him. And Adam looking for somewhere to go. Fox with a drop goal. 3 valuable points from the boot of Grant Fox. So once again, the Wellington scrum put to the sword, a metre short of the line, as 55,000 people scream for the Auckland try, and there it is. I suppose you can't argue with a scoreline which shows Auckland ahead by 2 tries to 0, but what a Herculean effort it's been from Wellington. As John Kerwin, who's been watched like a hawk all afternoon, back inside to Michael Jones. And Auckland, I guess, want to enjoy the last 2 minutes of this match and move the ball as much as possible. Kerwin, Harris, to Joe Stanley. And another try.
Frank relives his days in the RAF. In Some Mothers Do Have 'Em. Next on One.
Selly Spray and Strip will strip almost anything from anything, like paint, varnish, oil on the driveway. But there's one thing Selly's Spray and Strip won't strip off, and that's the name Selly's, because without a good name, it may not be as good. You see, if it's Selly's, it works.
Unsightly gaps are no problem. Now